Transform your aspiration into accomplishment. Initiate your UPSC CSE prep and establish a robust foundation with the GS Foundation Course 2025 at Vision IAS Delhi. Designed to unlock success, the course features comprehensive syllabus coverage with integrated coverage for GS Prelims, GS Mains, CSAT, and essay, regular practice and assessment, continuous assessment through daily assignments, weekly mini tests, and monthly revision tests paired with feedback by subject matter experts. And much more awaits your participation. Join the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation Course 2025. Batches starting 21st March, 5 p.m. 12th March, 9 a.m. The time is now. Seize this opportunity to excel. Spanning across India, the most awaited mock test series of the year is back. Vision IAS is proud to announce Abhyas 2024, the essential All India Prelims, GS and CSAT mock test series for UPSC Prelims Examination 2024. First level in the 3-stage UPSC Civil Services Examination. Prelims signify the start of an aspirant's roadmap to becoming IAS. With test centers in 100+ cities, it is designed to help every aspirant analyze and improve objective thinking and reasoning skills for the examination. Key highlights include All India Ranking, Vision IAS Post-Test Analysis, attempted by every 1 in 3 selected candidates in the top 50. Complete coverage of UPSC Prelims syllabus, available in English Hindi. Live test discussion. Welcome everyone. Meet Arav, an aspiring UPSC candidate. His eyes are full of dreams, his room a reflection of his ambition with UPSC topper stories. Arav starts his journey and soon finding himself engulfed by mountains of books and endless notes as he grapples with the vast UPSC syllabus. Despite trying various revision methods, Arav's anxiety escalates each day. He feels lost in a sea of information, struggling for direction. In his moment of confusion, Arav discovers the Lakshya Prelims Mentoring Program 2024, a ray of hope in his challenging journey. He found that Lakshya program offers a strategic plan for revision and practice, which includes the entire GS and CSAT syllabus. It skillfully integrates monthly current affairs and PT 365 with the static GS syllabus for a comprehensive revision. CSAT, once a daunting task, is now approached with rigorous practice and focus, building confidence. Amazed by the personalized approach, Arav finds Lakshya's plan as per his unique needs, that is, by focusing on high-yielding areas, facilitating multiple revisions, providing effective and validated reading list for efficient preparation and analyzing the evolving demand for UPSC Prelims paper with in-depth trend analysis of previous year questions, PYQs. With Lakshya's structured plan, Arav's approach to preparation evolves. The chaos of his study room now becomes a focused learning environment. Empowered and confident, Arav is now ready to conquer the UPSC Prelims. The once daunting task now appears within his reach. Interested in learning more or registering? Visit visionias.in/Lakshya or call us on these numbers. Start your successful journey with Vision IAS today.
So hi, good evening. All good? So first of all, I think many of you had a little bit of difficulty in finding कि कहाँ पे है, where is that, ठीक है? So we'll show you that this is in the resource tab. Resource पे click करो, and in resource, we'll tell you. एक बार खोलने दो, ठीक है. So resources, and it takes a little bit of time. So in resources, it is in the research and analysis part, not in the infographics, not in any other part, but in research and analysis part, because research and analysis is the section in which you have the past year paper discussion. So related to any such, no, it is not getting open. So कोई भी section हो गया, चाहे polity या फिर then any of the subjects. So all subjects 7-year paper is there in the research and analysis. जब खुलता है तो we will see that part, ठीक है. So last class we completed acts and policies तक, ठीक है. And now we are going to start after 1857 or basically the freedom struggle part. Then so freedom struggle part. So chalo, I'll directly come to the agenda, and in middle we will have some sort of questions, ठीक है. So now there is more to contribute in the today's class, and then let me start with the, so just give me 1 minute. So Swadesi movement से start करता है, ठीक है. And basically in Swadesi movement, they have asked 3 questions from this particular part, Swadesi movement part. And many of the sections, as per you the chronology, if you go by the chronology, so बीच के section से last 7 year में कोई question नहीं है. So what were the बीच के section after the acts and policies? Basically 1857 से in last 7 year we haven't found any question in the prelims examination. Mains में था, there was a question in the mains paper but not in the prelims paper. Then apart from it, there are questions which are not that basically related to the early organizations, then before the foundation of the Congress. So there has been one question, so we will come to this part, but then in this particular paper part, it has been kept later on. So let's start with the Swadesi movement. So इसमें एक बार देख लो that इसमें क्या क्या लिखा हुआ है. Current affair, smart quiz, then quick revision material, then infographics, UPSC paper solution, and research and analysis. Then so this is the section which you need to click, and then isme you will get the resources. So now second one, modern Indian history 7-year PYQ trend analysis. So this you can download. Then geography is also there, polity, governance, economy, and rest of the other papers will also be uploaded in this section in a week or so. Then so keep looking at it, not all the time. So let's start with the alt tab. So एक बार रुक जाओ, then I'll go to the page number. This is little boring, I know, but then now today it will be fast. So I'm reading the question to you. Meanwhile ये आ जाएगा इस पे. So with reference to Swadesi movement, consider the following statements. Number 1. So now you read. It contributed to the revival of the indigenous artisan craft and industry. And the second one, the National Council of Education was established as a part of the Swadesi movement. Then, so now tell me about the very first one. That is it right or not, and what has happened? If you have any idea, if you have, it was right. So what all were the developments that? Basically what we said, that Swadesi and boycott. So when the Swadesi was to be promoted, but then it is interlinked with the boycott, then, and boycott of the Manchester cloth, and then Liverpool salt. So Manchester cloth, if you're boycotting, so then obviously Indian made textile must be promoted. Then so Indian made textiles were promoted, and as each and every source they mention that one of the big development at this time was the crafts of the India, the textile industry. So Indian craft and Indian handicrafts also, they got some sort of promotion. So craft में बहुत कुछ आ जाएगा, just not the clothing industry but also the artisanal craft. Then so everything was getting promotion. Then the National Council of Education was established as a part of the Swadesi movement. So इससे related there are a number of the information. So National Council of Education, national education was promoted. This is what we generally read in the classes. But then if we go into the subparts of it, so the National Council of Education was created on 15th of August 1906 under the leadership of Surendra Nath Mukherjee. Okay? Not Banerjee. Surendra Nath Mukherjee. Then, so that was one thing. Then Bengal Engineering Technology College was also created in the year, and Bengal National School was also created under the principalship of the Aurobindo. Then, so these were three prime organizations. Apart from it, from 1905 to 1908, that such was the fervor of the Swadesi movement that near about 800 national schools were created. ठीक है? So some information is obviously not mentioned. जो mention है वो मैं add नहीं कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है? That these are the things that you can further keep in the that चाहो तो लिखना, चाहो तो note करके रख लेना, and then you can incorporate in this part also. So there is nothing more to discuss about this part. Let's move to the next question, which was unconventional question, which was a difficult question. So I'm coming to the second question from the Swadesi. Now, this is the question. So with reference to the book Deser Katha, written by Sakharam Ganesh Deuskar, during the freedom struggle, consider the following statement. So now you all know the answer, that it warned against the colonial state, hypnotic conquest of the mind. Then the second, what is mentioned, it inspired the performances of the Swadesi street plays and the folk songs. Then the last one, the use of Des by Deuskar was in specific context of the region of Bengal. So now understand, when you are keeping your pen with you, okay, keep your that mind and everything open. First of all, look at the name of the person, even if you haven't studied about it. So how to solve this type of question? That Deser Katha, Deser Kathar likha hai, ठीक है? So Deser Katha, this was the name. But then if you look at the name of the person, Sakharam Ganesh Deuskar, that if you look at the name Sakharam, which region of the India will be using this kind of word? Maharashtra. अभी clear है हमें, ठीक है? But then ये भी एक ध्यान देना. So if the Patel and Bhai Ji, so Bhai word is used, so then it is going to the Gujarat. Then, and if it is in Bengal, so then there would be a pronunciation of O. Okay? So Mukherjee, Banerjee, then. So then you already know that what are the titles. This is a general observation, that what are the titles, okay? And according to those titles, you can just do some sort of prediction related to the person. So he is obviously not Bengali. Then, so not Bengali. And then if the Swadesi movement was launched, so why it is only in the context of the Bengal? It must not be in the context of the Bengal. Then, so when you have the pen in your hand, region of Bengal you can underline and you can question this part. As far as the first two parts are concerned, second, अगर जो first सही है, तो second भी सही हो सकता है, but then it was a difficult question. No normal source of the UPSC, ठीक है, or no normal books of the UPSC had this information. So this was a difficult question, and in this scenario, little bit of luck could be there on your side, but better to leave this type of the question. Then, so better to leave this type of the question, जो ना तो किसी भी normal source, you already know that reference material, either you're reading Struggle for Independence of the Bipin Chandra, or you're reading B.L. Grover, Sumit Sarkar, or you're reading Sekhar Bandyopadhyay, or you're reading Spectrum. Any of the source doesn't mention it. Then, so obviously UPSC is asked that it has this scope to ask question from any of the sections or any of the book. So abhi aage few more questions would be there. Then, now let's come to, so after the third question, I would give you chance to ask few questions related to the things. So in this question, now let's come to the third one. Consider the following statements. So this is this year paper, इस साल का paper था. Statement 1, 7th August is declared as the National Handloom Day. Then किसी को भी नहीं पता भी हो सकता है, नहीं भी पता हो सकता है. The second statement, it was in 1905 that the Swadesi movement was launched on the same day. Which one of the following is the correct in the respect of the above statements? So now understand, first of all, that when was the announcement made? Announcement was made on 19th of July. Okay? 19th of July, Curzon made the announcement that there will be partition of Bengal, and partition was made on the day 16th of October. So was this information available earlier? ऐसा कुछ indication था कि there would be a partition? There was an indication. In 1903 itself, Curzon has mentioned that Bengal has become too big to administer. Then he talked about the administrative bifurcation of the Bengal, but nobody knew that it will happen on the communal lines. And on 19th of July, he declared that it is going to happen on the communal lines. Then, so everybody was shocked that people were expecting, in fact, many regional organizations, they were working in this direction that if the division would be happening, so then they will be coming with the assertive movements. Then, but then announcement happened and it was on a communal line. People were interested, and so as the organization. So 7th of the August, it all started. But then, how come there is the connection with the National Handloom Day and this one? It is a difficult part. Second part, tumhe pata hai, it is an easy part. That it was in 1905 that Swadesi movement was launched on that day. So it is an easy fact, but the first fact is not easy. Then, and in this particular scenario, कल किसी ने पूछा था कि 50-50 हो जाए तो, ठीक है? तो in 50-50 scenario, I would say कि if you are confirm on this part, take risk, ठीक है? Take risk. And most of the time, ये ध्यान रखना that UPSC का लगभग पिछले 30 साल का ट्रेंड है, you haven't seen, और 30 साल से भी ऊपर का यही ट्रेंड है, that if the question is there and if it is some information related to some day is there, national day is there, 95% of the time it has been correct. Then, so that is the overall trend. Then, overall trend of the UPSC in last more than 30 years. Then, so in this case, you go with the both are correct. Then, you go with the both are correct, and moreover, दो statement में से अगर जो एक तुम्हें correctly पता है, take risk. ठीक है? You don't need to take risk where you don't know both of them. So that is not called as risk. Risk is where the 50% probability is there. Then, so at least 50% probability would be at this particular part. अब तुम्हारे end पे कोई question हो तो मुझे बताओ. We'll further go into in some of the sections. There are little detailed portions. कोई question है? It's all fine today. कल ही पूछ लिया था. So चलो, let's move to the. So now, as the sources are mentioned in this one, that इसके एक और part में चले जाओ, that in 2015 this particular National Handloom Day started on 7th of August, and then government obviously this current establishment, and then at that point of time there was a campaign Har Ghar Tiranga, ठीक है? And in fact our Prime Minister was also promoting that part. So Har Ghar Tiranga, and moreover the question has been asked in 2023 and the news is from 2015. So it makes it difficult. 10 साल का कोई current affair नहीं पड़ता है, and that too for 1 or 2 questions. Then, so, and it is not advisable also that you'll be reading the 10 साल का current affair. Maximum you can read that is the 2 year का current affair. Then, and you will be more emphasizing on the 1 year current affair. So 1 year current affair will fetch you. Once again, I'm taking that data 85%, and 15% might be from the other years. Then, so उस 15% में 10% is from the other year, the next year, और बाकी के 5% could be there from the any of the last 6-7 years. Then, so for that you don't need to be concerned. It will not decide your marks. Sorry, it will not decide your selection, your inclusion in the prelims successful candidates. So let's come to. Do I need to revise? If you say so, I will that go ahead with that. What happened during the Swadesi movement? If you want, so I will go ahead with that. Or you know it. You know it. I hope. Yeah. Now, some of you are obviously you have started the course then. So it will take time for you. So now let's come to the next part. Wait 1 minute. So there are some additional material which is given over here, okay? But already these all materials are there with you. So you can just go ahead. You can see these all parts then, and then wait for 1 minute. So Gandhian phase. So total numbers, just look at it. So Gandhian phase, total number of questions from this particular section, 6 questions have been there. And the subdivisions also we have created in this part. So as you can see that 1 question from the Satyagraha, then the organizations which were associated with the Gandhian phase, then Gandhi's negotiation with the British authority, 2 questions, and then current affair linkage, 1 question, and movement based 1 question. Okay? So total 6 questions from the Gandhian phase. So Gandhian phase here, it is Indian Gandhian phase. Isme South African phase hasn't been asked. Then, so in last 7 years. South African phase was from 1893 to 1914, and then Gandhi has come back to India. So now look at it, that the question which is there in this particular part, which one of the following is a very significant aspect of the Champaran Satyagraha. So let's go into that, what happened in the Champaran. Kalbi, I think we discussed a little bit, but once again, so Champaran was all related to the Tin Kathia system. Indigo, so indigo se related, there are three important facts. First of all, that indigo, chalo, I'll go into that little detail of the indigo. Indigo, how come it derives its name? It seems like it's from India, so it's from India. Then, so basically what has happened, that it is from, the name is derived from the Indus Valley. Then, so it was the native or the domesticated plantation of India, and then after from India, it has gone to the European part of the world, and from European part of the world, it has gone to America. So initially, before 1800, indigo was mainly cultivated in the South Carolina, then in North America. Then, so South Carolina in North America, and moreover, that was the time that in 18th century that America was also fighting for its own war of independence. You remember that from 1770s, the American War of Independence has started, which has been sorted out by 1783. So in this, before this phase, that the natives of the South Carolina and what we call them Yankees, then, so they were the one, Yankees were dominated by the French planters, European planters, and that British planters. So there was rampant slavery which was practiced in that part of the world. But then after the American independence, the indigo plantation was sunned out from the South Carolina. And that was the time that 70% of the indigo, 70% of the indigo in the world was supplied from North America. Only 30% was from India. Okay? So 30% was from India. These were the two sources. After 1800, when in that particular part of the world, indigo plantation decreased, so British planters started to enlist Indians. Then, particularly in Bihar and Bengal, go for the indigo plantation. And by 1810, India became 90% supplier of the indigo. Then, so 90% supplier of the indigo, but then it also led to exploitation, then, and then cheating on the part of the British authority. So after that, by 1850s, there are n number of the issues which are arising. And what was that last day we discussed, that out of 20 kattha, okay, or 1 bigha, in 1 bigha, which is 20 kattha, so 5 kattha was to be kept for the indigo plantation, and it was a forceful. That was the time when people started fighting. And in this fighting, what has happened, that the government has said, that the judiciary has said, to be very precise, judiciary has said that planters must not force the cultivators to cultivate indigo. But then out of court settlement started to happen, and thereby planters said that ki 3 by 20th kar lo. And by 1867, 3 by 20th system started, which is known as the Tin Kathia system. But isme ek aur cheez hai, that there was one person whose name was Neel Darpan. That was the first text which was written by Deen Bandhu Mitra, then, and it was the first text on the grievances of the indigo cultivators, then, whereby their grievances were highlighted. इससे related एक question है, आगे आएगा, then just don't write, बस सुन लो इसको. So it is there. So that was there. And then after in 1890s, the German synthetic dyes, the issue, and that we discussed last day. So intervention of Gandhi. So Gandhi was persuaded by a local leader, Rajkumar Shukla, okay, to intervene. He went into Champaran, and Champaran was also the first civil disobedience. Then, so first civil disobedience, how come? He did not obey the orders of the district magistrate. Then, so he did not obey the orders of district magistrate, entered into Champaran, started his system of investigation with the local leaders. And who were the local leaders? So local leaders, Rajendra Prasad, Mazharul Haq, Mahadev Desai, then J.B. Kripalani, Narhari Parekh. So these were the local leaders. With their help, he started the investigation, and moreover, the peasantry has rallied behind Gandhi in this particular Champaran issue. So let's look at this one. So first of all, active all India participation. Why it will be all India? It was a regional intervention. Okay? So first all India movement of Gandhi. Tell me, you have studied. Rowlatt Satyagraha, ठीक है, was the first all India movement of the Gandhi. The first intervention of Gandhi in India is Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad. It is a regional issue. Champaran in 1917, Ahmedabad in early 1918, and then the last one, that Kheda issue, okay? So in late 1918. So this is how it spanned out then. And in all of them, Gandhi was highly successful, which actually catapulted his popularity at that point of time. Then, so let's look at the second one, active involvement of the Dalit and tribal communities. It will not go into it because the tribal movements were altogether very different then. And then joining of the peasant unrest to India's national movement. Then, so peasant unrest, what is it? Champaran Satyagraha is what? Is it a peasant unrest? Yes, it is peasant unrest. Then they are the one who are put into the grievance. Then they are the one who are exploited. Then so it is a peasant unrest and drastic decrease in the cultivation of plantation crops and commercial crops. अब इस पे एक discussion होना चाहिए, ठीक है? It also seems to be right कि drastic increase. The word over here we can say decrease in the cultivation of the plantation crops correct हो सकता था, drastic नहीं, ठीक है? Drastic nahi. Drastic is an extreme word. So you must be very careful in the exam about the extreme words. Then tell me what all extreme words do come in the exam. Which all words you keep under the category of the extreme? Only, ठीक है? Always, yes, very good. Only, always, drastic, ठीक है? And drastic के अलावा that geometric progression. Then note. So these 4-5 words, steady increase is a normal word. Steady increase normal word है, ठीक है? But then, हाँ, entire. Then, so entire, completely, ठीक है? So these are the extreme words. Be careful about the extreme words, ठीक है? And most of the time, 90% of the time, extreme words are incorrect option. So that is another thing that you must be very careful in the exam. That if the extreme words are there, so they will be wrong option. More than 90% of the time. Then, so now, a drastic decrease in the cultivation of plantation crop. Indigo सिर्फ एक plantation crop है, but then there are n number of the plantation crop. Tea is also there, coffee is also there, sugarcane is also there, tobacco is also there. But the issue was Champaran, not the issue with all the other plantation crops. So why they will decrease? They will not decrease. Okay? So you just look at it that is it the only plantation crop? Or there are n number of the plantation crops. So there was no drastic decrease. And plantation crops में drastic decrease हो नहीं सकता because that plantation crops are cash crops are there and cash crops are giving much benefit to the people. So it will take a hell lot of time to realize that ki cash crops are not better and then the normal cereals are better. Then so drastic is the word and we can remove this option. So joining of peasant unrest to India's national movement. How do you feel about this question? अभी तक जितने question हमने discussion किए हैं, तो एक बार देख लो that 4 questions that we have seen. The nature of the question. So very first question which we discussed about that ki with reference to Swadesi movement, consider the following statement: revival of the indigenous artisan craft industry and the second National Council of Education. Easy question. It is a easy question. Each and every source mentions about it. Then let's come to the second question. Deser Katha. One of the most difficult questions. Okay? You can easily leave that question. Then after comes that 7th August National Handloom Day. It was also a difficult to moderate question. Okay? In which risk can be taken. Then if you have information of the one statement, so then risk can be taken. Then come to this one. This was one of the easiest question. Okay? But ये है कि इसमें you will have to read the options 2 times. Sometimes what happens that generally what happens that in a one particular language we read our notes, we read the books. So the mind perception is that according to हमें क्या याद है हम वो देखना चाहते हैं पेपर में. Then what you have memorized that you want to see. But then you will have to mold your thinking that what you have memorized उसको याद करो, उसकी meanings पे आओ, and obviously we all think in our mother tongues. We speak in Hindi, we speak in English, but सोचते तो हम हिंदी में ही हैं, अंग्रेजी में नहीं सोचते हैं. Reality is that. Then, so just translate it in your mind and then accordingly you read the options. The second thing I would tell you, not applicable to all of you, this is what I have seen n number of the time in UPSC exam, that the some of the English words are all of that they're very unique words. Maybe we are not knowing the particular meaning of that word, please look at the Hindi version. If you are comfortable, if you know a little bit of Hindi, so please look at the Hindi version, that what has been mentioned. Obviously, this option is not available to the students from the different other languages. But then those who are comfortable in Hindi, please look at the Hindi version. Many a times you'll be able to solve the question with the Hindi version also. So keep in mind, दिमाग में रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अगर जो नहीं समझ में आ रहा है English version, look at the Hindi version also. Let's go into the next question of the Gandhian movement. So now, question number 2, ठीक है? Question number 2. In 1920, which of the following changed its name to Swaraj Sabha? देखो अभी, now we can say that it is easy question because it's done in the classes. लोग पढ़ाते हैं, it has been incorporated in all the sources. It was mentioned in only one book, that is Satyagraha by Savita Singh. ठीक है? And it's not there in your spectrum, not there in Bipin Chandra, not there in Sekhar Bandyopadhyay, not there in any of the book, any of the NCRTs also. So, Swaraj Sabha. So, now many a times people contest this question that what you have studied, that during the Home Rule movement, एक बार याद करो, that Home Rule movement started. In April 1916, Tilak started his Home Rule and Mrs. Annie Besant started in September 1916. So these Home Rule movements, they divided the areas. Tilak's was operational majorly that in Maharashtra, Central Province, Karnataka, Berar and Bidar. Then, so these were the areas. On the other hand, including Bombay and rest of the India was the Mrs. Annie Besant's League. 1915, 9th of January, Gandhi is coming back to India, and when he came back to India, he did not interfere or he did not participated in any of the political movement of that time. In fact, he went on to give a statement that I would join a policy or program to affect its policy, not to be affected by it. So meaning that he clearly said that he will not be part of the Home Rule agitation. But then one thing is also to be noted that though Gandhi did not participated, but he had hell lot of respect for the Tilak. Then, and so as the Mrs. Annie Besant, but then his connection was more with the Tilak. Then, now when it comes to the end of this particular Home Rule movement, how Mrs. Annie Besant withdrew this movement? She accepted the reforms proposed by then, so Montagu declared the reforms, and in 1918 she accepted the reforms, she withdrew her Home Rule agitation. But Tilak's continued in one way or another way. Tilak did not suspended it, and Tilak was in London to fight a case against the Valentine Chirol, who has called Tilak father of the Indian unrest. Then when he came back, he was quite ill. 1st of August 1920, his death happened, and then since Gandhi was the one who was canvassing for the Tilak many a time, okay? And in fact, when Tilak was fighting the case over there in the England, so Gandhi collected funds for him also. Then, and you remember, if you have studied, so in 1920 Nagpur session, okay, when majority of the proposals were made by Gandhi in the Congress annual session, they were actually the proposals of the Tilak. So how this has happened? Actually, so at this point of time, all India, okay, Home Rule League was converted into that Swaraj Sabha, and Gandhi was made president of the Swaraj Sabha. This information is not mentioned over here. Then, and when, and moreover, इसकी एक और भी अभी समझो, that this Swaraj Sabha or All India Home Rule League was also taken inside the Indian National Congress. This is the first time or first fight or first confrontation of the Gandhi and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Okay? So this is the time when Muhammad Ali Jinnah said to Gandhi that it cannot happen in this way, that All India Home Rule League cannot be completely included inside Congress without the vote of the 3/4 majority. So Gandhi said that already that there was a kind of a personal confrontation between them also, that Gandhi has maintained that when everybody is ready, so what is the need of the voting 3/4 majority? And that's how the disaffection between the Gandhi and Jinnah started to increase from this point of time. Then, so this is the first instance when they have confronted each other, Swaraj Sabha. So this is a difficult question. Either you know it, okay, if you have studied some resources, otherwise you don't know it. Then, so this question, what it will lead to in your the prelims score? Obviously nothing. ठीक है? अगर जो लक से हो गया तब तो ठीक है, लेकिन नहीं हुआ तो फिर then obviously it will decrease your marks. एक और चीज है कि स्वराज्य सभा, what is स्वराज्य? होम रूल और सेल्फ रूल? दोनों हो सकता है, बहुत सारे कंफ्यूजन थे उस टाइम पे. Home rule, self rule, both are same. But then there was a discussion on the Purna Swaraj also. Those were the times that initially people were confused that कि स्वराज अगर जो home rule है, कि सिर्फ self rule है, या फिर then it is going to the complete independence also. Then in fact, before the Congress session, annual session, in the Calcutta special session of the Congress in 1920, which was presided by Lala Lajpat Rai, what was the statement of the Gandhi? That if the non-cooperation movement is launched, so then what will happen? India will gain its full independence. Then, so Gandhi's meaning of the Swaraj is the complete independence, and then after it will change also. So Swaraj was a confusing word at that point of time. ठीक है? So इससे भी बहुत कुछ नहीं निकलता है कि होम रूल से ही रिलेटेड है. तो इंटरकनेक्शन स्टैब्लिश करना इस क्वेश्चन में डिफिकल्ट था. It was difficult to establish connection. I hope you got it. Then, so let's move to the next question. इसमें एक्सप्लेनेशन के पार्ट में थोड़ा सा एरर है, आई विल करेक्ट इट. ठीक है. विथ रेफरेंस टू द ब्रिटिश कॉलोनियल रूल इन इंडिया, कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स. देन so let me come to the question first. With reference to the British colonial rule in India, consider the following statements. So now in this particular part, that Mahatma Gandhi was, it was 2019 question, Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in the abolition of system of indentured labor. Indentured labor. Tell me, is it right, this one? And where it happened for the very first time? South Africa. Good. So South Africa, that indentured labor taken from the South India was working in the mines of the South Africa. And then Gandhi's second phase of the movement was entirely focused on this particular part. Then, so on this particular part, and moreover, in 1914, between 1913 to 1914, he had a round of conferences and the negotiation with many British authorities, which included the Viceroy Hardinge, which included General Smart, and then one Indian sympathizer, British sympathizer, C.F. Andrews, who was also called as Deen Bandhu. ठीक है? वैसे Deen Bandhu एक title है. Many of people were given this title. So he was also called as Deen Bandhu. Then, so he was the one who was instrumental in it, and then all the demands of the Gandhi were, majority of his demands were conceded, and which included the indentured labor issue also in South Africa. Then, so that is the right option. Now the second one, generally this is not taught in the classes. Then second जो statement है, so इसमें देखो, in Lord Chelmsford War Conference, Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution on recruiting Indians for the World War. Which World War? World War I. Chelmsford was in 1919, so 1917, 1919, this is the time. So it is talking about the World War I. So now, in World War I, so basically what has happened, that this particular conference was called in 1918. Okay? It was called in 1918 by the Chelmsford, and then n number of the people were invited in this conference. Then, and what was the scenario? By this point of time, once again, Germany was taking a big strides in the World War I scenario, and Britain was in a precarious situation whereby it needed the help of the India also. In fact, US has also jumped in the World War I, but the troops of the US, they have not arrived in the Europe till this point of time. So Hindi में एक word होता है आनन फानन. कभी सुना है? ठीक है. So meaning that in a kind of a quick pace of time, he has invited many people. Now Gandhi, first he rejected to participate in the war conference. Why Gandhi rejected? That he was not happy to participate in it, because in this particular conference, Tilak was not invited, who was the major leader of India. Tilak was not invited to participate, and so as the Ali brothers. Then, so Ali brothers were also very close to the Gandhi. Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali. Then, so Ali brothers were not invited. So Gandhi initially said that he will not be participating. But then, once again, an invitation was sent by the Chelmsford. Gandhi participated in it. Then, and then Chelmsford convinced him. So when Chelmsford convinced him that what will be the scenario if the Indians would be participating in the World War, and then there must be recruitment of the Indians in the army. So now Gandhi somehow was convinced by the Chelmsford, and he agreed to the Chelmsford that Indians must be recruited into the army. Then, so Indians must be recruited into the army. The belief of the Gandhi at this point of time was that if Indians are cooperating with the British in the need of their, so in the hour of their need, so then peacefully, there will be a moral obligation on the British that if Indians are cooperating, so maybe they will grant dominion status. Then, so this was the expectation. In fact, you see that Gandhi's stand is no different than this stand in 1939. He has taken the same stand. Then, this is considered as one of the weakness of the Gandhi. Then, that rarely we discuss about it, but that one of the weakness of the Gandhi, that despite many a time the treachery has been done by the British, Gandhi was not taking the lessons. Then, so he was always giving them the chance. And at this point of time when he accepted it, he started supporting British. In fact, in the Kheda district of the Gujarat, he initiated a recruitment drive also. Then, at this point of time, many of the compatriots of the Gandhi, those people who were following Gandhi, they were very angry. Then, and they were angry also, and then they contested Gandhi that on one hand you talk about the ahimsa, and on the other hand people will be recruited in the army which will lead to the hinsa. Then, so how come you will justify? Gandhi had no answer to it, but then he has maintained that I'm not seeing it from this perspective, but I'm seeing that at least on my land there would be not bloodshed, and with the cooperation we can achieve the dominion status or some sort of more political rights from the British government. Then, so he has always he always maintained that the first chance must be given to the peace process, okay, cooperation process. So that's how, so he agreed to it. So this is a right statement. Then, consequent upon the breaking of the salt law by the Indian people, the Indian National Congress was declared illegal by the colonial rulers. So you already know Gandhi participated in the second roundtable conference. He suspended civil disobedience for a few time. Uske baad then what happened in India? So in India, the old viceroy, who was the viceroy? Irwin, was changed by new viceroy Wellington, and Wellington court imperialist to the core. What he did? That civil martial law was applied. Congress was declared illegal. Then, moreover, Congress was not allowed to go ahead with any of the movements. In fact, Gandhi was not allowed to go ahead with any of the movement, and in fact, within 2 months, 80,000 arrests happened. Then, so that is there. That time and again, whenever the movement was happening and the law was broken, so they were declaring it as a illegal. So इस question में अब जैसे देख सकते हो, इस question में 1 and 3 is a easy option, ठीक है? 1 and 3 is a easy option, but then Chelmsford War Conference not mentioned. And I'll tell you one truth. The question was asked, and then books started inserting inside their material, ठीक है? So 2019 में लोग address नहीं कर सकते थे. 2020 में question होता तो address कर लेते. So that is a difficult part. Second part, but then it is just 1/3. Take risk. Okay? So in this you can take risk. Then so 1 or 2 already correct है. So option तुम्हारे पास बचता है A and D. ठीक है? So A and D, when you have come this much closer, so you can take risk. Then थोड़ा बहुत तो risk चाहिए इसमें. So these type of question you can go ahead with. Then let's come to the next question. Moreover, Gandhi's mistakes as far as that we have not discussed in the classes. Then, so you remember that in 1920, when 1921 in particular, when the non-cooperation has started, British authorities they were on their toes, and it was difficult for them to manage the affairs at that point of time. And moreover, they wanted some sort of solution. Madan Mohan Malviya at this point of time, he facilitated a talk between Gandhi and then Viceroy. Who was the Viceroy? Rufus Daniel Isaacs. Okay? Popularly we called him Reading. Okay? Because he was the Duke of the Reading. Reading is an area in the Britain. Then, so popularly he was called as Reading, but then see, experiments could happen in the UPSC paper with the names also. Then, so you need to see the alternative or the real names of the viceroys also. Okay? So ये exercise you will have to do. This could be another type of the question. I'll tell you that एक बार 2011 की बात है, ठीक है? And in 2011 there was this Fukushima crisis in the Japan. You must not have heard. What is Fukushima? Is a nuclear power plant in the Japan. That year there was this particular that tsunami which came in Japan, and obviously there was a issue of the nuclear leakage. That year the question paper included the nuclear policy, that it was us, international relations में पूछा था, in mains paper, that nuclear policy of the Japan, and then Japanese name they gave. Then, so it becomes difficult, that when everybody has studied in 2000, current affair का question था, Everybody has studied because Fukushima has happened. And then, if you don't know that particular name, so maybe despite you are having all the information about the nuclear policy of the Japan, you could not have written a word. So then look out for the alternative names also. Okay? So the onus is on you to, this is what we call as a value addition, okay? On your part. Then, so now let's come to the next question. This is the question which was dropped by UPSC. It is actually amusing for me also and everyone that why it was dropped. Then, so this question was dropped. Nothing is controversial in this question, but why UPSC dropped? It's still, it's only UPSC knows. Then, so let's come to this part. The Gandhi-Irwin pact included which of the following? Dropped का मतलब समझ रहे हो ना? That merit 198 पे बना था, 198, not on 200. So, invitation, so listen, that Gandhi-Irwin pact included which of the following? Invitation to Congress to participate in roundtable conference. Then, obviously it was. First roundtable conference has already happened in 1930. Everyone participated. Who is everyone? ऐसे भी बोलना सही नहीं है. So who is everyone in this one? Muhammad Ali Jinnah, that who is representative of the Muslim League. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who is the representative of the depressed classes. Many women representatives have participated. Hindu Mahasabha has participated. And then I'm talking about the people who participated in all the three roundtable conference. And then Tej Bahadur Sapru, okay, who has his own party, Liberal Federation. Then, so they all participated in all the three roundtable conference, but Congress did not participated. Why Congress did not participated? Can you tell me that why Congress did not participated in the first roundtable conference? Yes? बताओ, किसी को बताना है? चलो क्वेश्चन नहीं तो आंसर्स तो बताओ. नो नो नो, नहीं नहीं, आंसर्स के लिए कोई माइक देने की जरूरत नहीं है. Their demands, what were the demand? Anyone? No. वो तो है.
Many Congress leaders were in the war that time.
We'll tell you, ठीक है? So, demand was, you remember that Delhi Manifesto. मुझे बताओ Delhi Manifesto. What is Delhi Manifesto? No idea? चलो, I'll tell you. Delhi Manifesto, what it said, Congress asked a question. The leaders of the Congress, they met in 1920. Yes, objective of the roundtable conference. Congress asked a clarity on it. That what is the purpose of the roundtable conference? Congress said to the British government at that time, कि don't invite us to Britain to discuss that when dominion status would be granted. If you are serious about inviting us to roundtable conference, so give us clarity that it is about the discussion on immediate implementation of the dominion status. So what was demand? Immediate implementation of the dominion status. On this question, no reply was given by the government. Then, and that's why they did not participated. So this is the reason that they have not participated. हो सकता है maybe this could be a question that why Congress did not participated in the roundtable conference. Then, so then second one you see that withdrawal of the ordinances promulgated in connection with the civil disobedience movement. Then, so this is the one. आवाज थोड़ी कम हो गई क्या? Fine. So this is the one which you think in your ways that what you have studied, आवाज थोड़ी कम हो गई है. Increase करवा दो. Then, so basically that in your way that what we write, all it that in the Gandhi-Irwin pact, how we mention in the classes or wherever we read, so we mentioned that it ended all the emergency ordinances. ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे थोड़ी language में problem हो सकती है. But this is the right option, that withdrawal of the ordinances promulgated in connection with the civil disobedience movement. Then, so this is the demand of the Gandhi that all the emergency ordinances they must come to an end. Then, so that is also the right option. अब इसमें यूपीएससी ने ड्रॉप क्यों किया? आई विल टेल यू. ठीक है, यू विल हैव टू गो फॉर दिस सोर्स, नॉट जो इसमें मेंशन नहीं है. ठीक है, एनसीईआरटी से चलो ये सब तो डिटेल्स है. व्हाई यूपीएससी मस्ट हैव ड्रॉप्ड इट? बिकॉज ऑफ द थर्ड ऑप्शन. ठीक है, देयर इज अ डिबेट इन द थर्ड ऑप्शन. व्हाट इज द डिबेट? एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ गांधी सजेशन फॉर इंक्वायरी इनटू द पुलिस एक्सेसेस. देन गो टू द बिपिन चंद्रा. देन and which Bipin Chandra? Struggle for independence. In this, Bipin Chandra has clearly mentioned that initially the Gandhis, what is the wording I'm telling you? Initially the Gandhis' demand of inquiry into the police excesses was rejected by the British. Then, but then on Gandhi's insistence, he noted it down, then that he will reflect on it later on. So actually this is what is the bone of contention, because of which UPSC dropped it, because there was no clarity that हाँ बोला था या ना बोला था. ठीक है, पहले तो ना बोला था, ठीक है, बाद में ज्यादा इंसिस्ट करने पे बोला कि देख लेंगे. Then so ये देख लेंगे वाला part that became bone of contention, and because there was no clarity on it, so that's why UPSC has dropped it. ठीक है, if there would have been only the question of the Bhagat Singh's conversion, Bhagat Singh Rajguru Sukhdev's capital punishment to a lesser punishment conversion, so wo to they outrightly rejected it. But then you know the story. Even in that part also, Gandhi has tried a lot. Then so tried a lot, and there has been an instruction. In fact, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru Sukhdev were given a chance. Then that as per the British Judge Roy Emil, a letter that a proposal was sent to them that if they shun the ideology of the violence and subscribe their loyalty to the British authority, so their death punishment could be converted. So though it was rejected, but यहाँ पे भी एक proposal उनके side से था. Then so basically, चलो वो option तो दिया नहीं है, but then that you need to know. So you need to be little careful in this regard. The last one, release of the only those political prisoners or only those prisoners who were not charged with the violence. So here also, wordings of our study might be different, that what we study generally in all the books, how they have mentioned that release of the political prisoners not convicted for the violence. This is how we write. So same thing, you will have to think the meaning and then you will have to think it over here. Then so वैसे तो मेरे हिसाब से इसमें मतलब we need to go with that first is invitation of Congress to participate in the roundtable conference, correct. Then second is also correct, and acceptance of Gandhi's suggestion for inquiry into police excesses. Acceptance भी था, neglect भी था, तो यही इसकी वजह से तो 1 to 4 कोई option होता है B, so then you would have gone with this one. ठीक है, but then चलो let's go into the next one. So here once again it is a not just the Gandhian program question, but also the question related to some more discussion, personalities. Then so some more discussions of the personality. Who among the following is associated with Song for Prison, from Prison, a translation of ancient Indian religious lyrics in English? It's an unconventional question. But then from this unconventional question, we can derive some personality based questions. See, there is, you must remember that no matter what, that personalities are mentioned in both the part of the syllabus. And when you are dealing with the personalities, you cannot read all of them at a time. Then there will be a difficulty. Over the period when you come across some events, some news, so then you read about the personalities, but then there are definitely n number of the personalities who are not even covered even in the 1,000 pages of the books which are there in the market. Then so ये difficult होगा. But then from related to this question, I'll tell you something. Okay? So option is given: Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and Sarojini Naidu. Answer: all of us know by this time that it is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or basically Gandhi wrote it. When he wrote it in 1930s, when he was in jail, okay? So when he was in jail after this breaking the salt law, so that is the time that Gandhi started writing these songs, and these songs were inspired from the writings of the Mirabai and from the Marathi Bhakti saint Tukaram, then also many of the ancient Indian Bhakti writers. And he was writing these songs for one of his friend, and the friend was Miraben. Okay? So friend was Miraben. So Mira Behan bol sakte ho, but then Miraben. Okay? How it is written? M-I-R-A-B-E-H-N. Then who was Miraben? Now understand. So Gandhi has a great following in the England. Then despite that England was the colonizer of the India, and despite that he had followership in the England, and time and again he has gone to England. So then there was a family, okay, that Medlin family in the England, who were the followers of the Gandhi. The original name of the lady was not Miraben, her name was Medlin Slade. Then she was a British lady, and Medlin Slade came to India in 1925. Just listen to the story. She came to India in 1925. She met all the members of the Gandhi's organization, where she met them in Delhi. And then after, she has gone to Ahmedabad also. So she met Vallabhbhai Patel also, then Indulal Yagnik also, Gandhi also, even Gandhi's son has come to receive her. Then So then, now see why she has come to India. She wanted to join the Sabarmati ashram and she wanted to fight for the Indians. Then, so now Gandhi has said one thing to her, that if she wants to be the part of the Sabarmati ashram, so then she can stay for a while, but then she will have to learn the Indian languages. Then, so to learn Indian language, she was sent to Gurukul Kangadi. It's an organization, it's an institution, you must have heard. कुछ लोगों को पता होगा. So she was sent to Gurukul Kangadi. She stayed in Gurukul Kangadi for 2 years, where she studied the Indian languages. She started speaking in the Indian languages, and then after, she was once again sent to another ashram in Rewari, in Haryana, okay, to gain some meditational experience. And then after, she was incorporated into the Sabarmati ashram. Then, 1927 is the year in which, after which Gandhi started working on his autobiography. And what is that? My Experiments with Truth. Then, so she was the one who assisted Gandhi in writing. She was the one, when Gandhi was writing his autobiography, she was correcting the grammar, she was doing the punctuation. So she was the assistant of the Gandhi in My Experiments with the Truth. Then, so it is written in the book, Gandhi's book. Okay, obviously Gandhi's autobiography, but otherwise logo ko nahi pata hai. Then she met all the women leaders of that time, and Sarojini Naidu, and then all the other women leaders, and then after, she was participating in the Salt Law. Many a times she was arrested and she was put into the prison during the Salt Law period. During Quit India also, when the Quit India movement started, so she was one of the participants, and in the early morning of 9th of August, 1942, she was also arrested, okay? And she was put along with the Kasturba, okay? So she was jailed with Kasturba, and then in 1943, many such big setbacks for the Gandhi has happened. Kasturba's death, and so as the greatest Gandhian follower, who was also in the Aga Khan Palace with the Gandhi, who was Mahadev Desai. Then, so he is considered as the second the biggest follower of the Gandhi and the closest person to the Gandhi. Generally, people consider that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was the closest. He might be, okay, but then actually the Mahadev Desai was the closest. He was the PA of the Gandhi also. So his death also happened in the same year, and that is the time that when Gandhi was he was comforted by the Miraben. Moreover, when in 1925, Madeline Slade, when she has come to India, so then Gandhi gave her the name Meera Behan, on the name of the Bhakti saint Meera Bai. Okay? And in fact, till his entire lifetime, Meera Ben, she considered that this is her name, she has left her name, Madeline Slade. Then, after India's independence, she created many organizations, Sevagram, and then she worked in India till 1960. In 1960s, she decided that she will carry forward the legacy of the Gandhi, not in Britain, but then in Austria. She relocated in Austria, and till 1982, she was there in the Austria till her death. And in 1981, she was given Padma Vibhushan. Okay? So this is the story of the one personality you might not be knowing, and we are hearing for the first time. So, see, these are the unexplored areas where UPSC can go, and obviously there is no limitation to it. Then, so we don't need to be emotional in this aspect that कि अब सब सारे personalities पढ़ने ही हैं. Luck होगा तो आ जाएगा, ठीक है? नहीं होगा तो that will come under the category of the 15%, which will not decide your selection. Got it? So they move ahead. Then, चलो. So, and इसमें जो resources दिए हुए हैं, जैसे पिछले वाले में, in the last question, that some books are mentioned, some that newspaper article is mentioned, but I'll tell you one thing, that it is easy for the institutions involved in the preparation industry to say that it was in this article. Most of the time it goes unnoticed. Most of the time. There are a number of the informations which comes in the newspaper that goes unnoticed. I hope you agree with me. I know this thing, that it goes unnoticed, because once you search in all the current affair material in the market, वही बस information हो जाता है जो किसी के current affair में नहीं होता है. You're getting it? Then, so even running after too much of these historical events which comes in the paper, and then repenting कि मुझे paper और अच्छे से पढ़ना था, मैंने note down नहीं किया, I don't think that is, I think that it is unnecessary. Whatever way you are reading the paper, that is enough, that is good. कोई ना कोई information तो छूटेगा, ठीक है? You are not God. Then, that you will be able to see everything and you will be able to grasp everything. So जैसे भी paper पढ़ रहे हो, I know that you are reading it seriously, ठीक है? That is enough. Then, so you don't need to kind of blame yourself. So with reference to 8th August 1942, in Indian history, which one of the following statement is correct? Easy question. अब इसमें क्या discussion करोगे, ठीक है? And in fact, just listen. So Quit India resolution was adopted by AICC, and where it was adopted? क्या बात कर रहे हो तुम लोग? Govaliya tank, Bombay. ठीक है? So Govaliya tank, Bombay, Gandhi addressed the nation. चलो, let's go back into it. That Govaliya tank, Bombay, Gandhi addressed the nation on the 8th of August. Then what he has said to the people, he has given a slogan, Karo ya Maro. ठीक है? Then what he has called to initiate a non-violent civil disobedience movement. Then he has asked to the people, do not pay heed to the government orders. Then he has said कि public employees resign करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, but then don't pay heed to the government orders. Then he has said the army personnel resign करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, but then don't act against your own citizens, your own natives. Then, and in that regard, if the British orders are there, please don't follow. Then he said, what about the zamindars? So if zamindars are good, okay, they are cooperating with the peasants, then so pay them a mediated kind of rent to them. But if they are supportive of the British rule, don't pay the taxes. Then, so these all things he has mentioned at this point of time. And then after 9th of August, everybody was arrested. So इससे related previously, before 2017, there has been there has been a question, which of the following statements related to Quit India is correct? And what were the statements? So statements were, it was a leaderless movement. So was it a leaderless movement? Yes, it was a leaderless movement, because the people who initiated on the 8th of August were arrested on the 9th of August. It's only after some point of time, the leaders started to emerge, and that to the underground leaders. Then, so underground leaders were Aruna Asaf Ali, Sucheta Kripalini, JP Narayan, then RP Goenka, Biju Patnaik, Achyut Patwardhan, then so yes, so these Usa Mehta, so these were the leaders who emerged in the later phase, but then they were the underground leaders, not the open leaders. Then, so always remember that it was a leaderless movement. Let's come to the next part. Just give me 1 minute. So there are some infographics also included in this part, if you have downloaded, so you can use it. So that was an easy question. All of you agree? ठीक है, उसमें बाकी आगे मैं नहीं पढ़ रहा हूँ. Viceroy Executive Council was expanded to include more Indians. These are, you can easily skip, ठीक है. Then, so these are, so ये Gandhi का chronology and everything is given, that how it has happened. I think it will help. You can see this chronology. You can, already you have written, you must have studied. Then, so the entire chronology. Quit India, 1948, his assassination is also mentioned. So now, so अब ये ध्यान रखो that Gandhi ran 4 publications, ठीक है? So he ran these 4 publications, and what are these? Indian Opinion, ठीक है? So Indian Opinion, अच्छा, can you tell me that what was the name of the magazine which he released in the South Africa? Indian Opinion, ठीक है? So that is South Africa one, first one, Indian Opinion. And Young India when he has arrived in India. Then Navjeevan and Harijan. Tell me something about Harijan. What do you know about the Harijan Patrika? Harijan was for untouchables, ठीक है? So he started to call them Harijan, ठीक है? Meaning that the obviously, so people of the God, ठीक है? So Hari is the name of the Lord Vishnu, and in fact, one more term I'm mentioning at this time, that particularly he started his untouchability upliftment program from which particular part of the country? It is the Gujarat. Then, and in Gujarat, their name of the untouchable class was Kali Paraj. Have you heard about it? Okay? So Kali Paraj. Then, and initially, generally Gandhi's first speech and then the first intervention used to be in the Gujarati language. Then, so he maintained in those times that Kali Paraj must not be the name, but they must be Harijan. Then, so instead of using the word Kali Paraj, he is using the word Harijan, and Harijan was his most popular magazine. Then, so let's come to, after this part, the question. Next question. Now it is related to the, so transfer of power. So transfer of power with reference to the proposals of the Cripps mission, consider the following statements. It is an easy question. Okay? You read and tell me that what is wrong in it. I'm not telling you anything. Yes. So as you are saying, the very first is the Constituent Assembly would have members nominated by the provincial assemblies. Provincial assembly से nomination नहीं था. What was there? Election था and nomination from the princely states. And this is what was objected by the Congress. Then, so Congress objection to the Cripps mission was on three ends: dominion status, and then the second is the nomination by the princely states, and the third was the blueprint of the partition. So let's look at the second part. Any province which is not prepared to accept the new constitution would have the right to sign a separate agreement with Britain regarding its future status. This is what we call blueprint of the partition. कि अगर जो पाकिस्तान agree नहीं होता है, then that was the demand when the Pakistan demand came into being. 1940s, March 1940, the Pakistan resolution was passed by Muslim League. They demanded Pakistan. Then, so now, if the Pakistan resolution is to be affected, or the leaders of the Muslim League are not agreeing to it, so they can sign a separate agreement regarding their future. This is the blueprint of the partition. Then, so this is correct. So it is an easy question. You can solve with any of the resources. Then let's come to one of the very unusual, I don't know that why it has been put over here. It must be put in the current affairs and it is not related to modern also. Who among the following were the founders of the Hind Mazdoor Sabha established in 1948? Then, difficult question, I would say, skip it. Okay? In exam, don't go ahead with it. Because any of the names which are mentioned over here, just एक बार देखो, B. Krishna Pillai, EMS Nambudari Pad, KC George, I think hardly you must have heard about any of the name in the very first one. Second में, that Jayaprakash Narayan, Deen Dayal Upadhyay and M.N. Roy. All of them you have heard, ठीक है? Generally लोगों ने यही किया था कि people went with those who were going with the तुक्का, कल किसी ने जो पूछा था, so जो नाम पता था उस पे मार दिया, ठीक है? So don't go ahead with it because 1948 का information कहीं होता नहीं, किसी भी किताब में नहीं है, ठीक है? And then this question has been taken from the website of the Hind Mazdoor Sabha only, ठीक है? तो very difficult and answer दिया हुआ है अशोक मेहता, T.S. Ramanujan and G.G. Mehta. Do you know them? कहीं सुना है ना, ठीक है? So obviously this question is very much equivalent to the dropped question from the UPSC. Then, so इसमें अपने end पे कोई innovation नहीं करना है. Let's come to the next part. So next part is basically peasant movements and tribal rebellions. So इसी में लिखा हुआ है, ये peasant movement में दे दिया tribal rebellion. But now let's come to the question which makes some sense. After the Santhal uprising subsided, what were the measures taken by the colonial government? Then, so I think you have studied about it, that Santhal uprising is the outcome. In fact, generally that discussion is used to be very extensive when it comes to the Santhal uprising. In fact, in the recent past, many questions have been asked related to the Santhal uprising in many of the exams conducted in UPSC. Then, so in many of the exams conducted in UPSC, they have asked the Santhal language questions like Dikus. Okay? Who were Dikus? Outsiders. Then Santhal uprising is called as Santhal Hool. Then, so Santhal Hool, that is one part. Then they have also asked about that the leaders of the Santhal uprising, who were there? So Sidhu and Kanu Marmu, and in fact they had two brothers also who were also killed in this process, Chand and Marmu. Then, so now let's look at it. The territories called Santhal Parganas were created. This was the outcome. Okay? So I don't know if it has been discussed or not, but then generally that all the sources do mention that the outcome of it, that though it has led to large number of the killings of the Santhals, then near about more than 20,000 Santhals were killed, and many a places the entire Santhal villages were cleared. Then not even a single person survived. But then one more interesting aspect, or basically the probable area from where questions could be there, that Santhals were, I think in some classes I have discussed that is about the Charles Dickens novel, Household Words. Then, and he has mentioned one of the aspects of the Santhals, They were the best people. They had the best knowledge of the use of the poisoned arrows and poisons in the weapons. But then they did not use, though they had a hell lot of grievance against the British, they were their arch rivals, they were their nemesis point, but then they did not use a single poisoned arrow against the British authority. So that is one of the big example of the ethical behavior or the values in the Santhal society, which was appreciated by the British later on. And the outcome was that Santhal Pargana was created. And in fact, if you look at, even in the polity also, that tribal autonomous areas, then you must have heard about it in your polity classes. So tribal autonomous areas, that where the tribals have much more freedom to administer their area, the beginnings is made from the Santhal uprising only. So Santhal Parganas were created, and now it was made a very clear, crystal clear rule that no transfer of land of the Santhals will happen to anybody. So in this, both the statements are correct, and it was a normal question. Then let's come to the next one. Sorry. So this is also an easy question. With the reference to the history of India, Ulgulan or the Great Tumult is the of which of the following events? Then, so in fact, all the sources, everyone, in fact, in socio also, anyone who has sociology as an optional, you read these both. Then Santhal uprising also and Munda uprising also. So these are the movements which are mentioned in the social movements. Just be subject mein, just be optional mein social movements hai, history mein bhi hai, and then socio mein bhi hai, even in the tribal, particularly anthro also. Then so there it is mentioned. So Ulgulan is a Munda word. Mundari is a language, I hope you know, that it is mainly spoken in the area of the Jharkhand. Jharkhand mein bhi specifically Ranchi, Hazaribagh, Palamu and Singhbhum. Then, so these are the districts, and in these districts they use the Mundari language. So in Mundari language, Ulgulan means the great tumult. Then meaning that, what is great tumult? The very great participation of the people, or you can say the great upsurge. Okay? So great upsurge. So it is related to the Birsa Munda revolt of the 1899. So generally what happens then, that from the tribal wala aspect, factual questions would be there, and it will always be easy. But the question is that your coverage, how much you have covered, how many tribal revolts you have covered. Then, now another aspect of it, so which is common in the Santhal and it is common in the Munda also. एक बार इसको ध्यान से समझ लो, ठीक है? So it is called as Khunt Katti system, ठीक है? So Khunt Katti system, and they were called as Khunt Kattidar. So in the Mundari language, what is Khunt? Khunt is the forest, ठीक है? Or shrub of the forest. Then, so traditionally, both the tribals, Santhals ko bhi le lo, and on one hand, you take the Mundas also. So they had the traditional rights of Khuntkati, meaning that clearing the forest and then making it their habitation. As far as the Santhals are concerned, Santhals were not the original inhabitants of the Rajmahal. They were not original. Ulta bol raha hu main. They were not original inhabitants of the Rajmahal. And what is Rajmahal? Bhagalpur और राजमहल के बीच का जो इलाका है. They were originally the tribes who were scattered in the different parts of the Jharkhand, so as in Odisha and Chhattisgarh. But then, as a community, they have decided that they will create their own area. So they have gone with the Khunt Kattidar system, meaning that clearing the forest, shrub and everything. So Bhagalpur से राजमहल के बीच में they cleared the forest, and they declared this area as a Damane-Koh. Okay? So they created their own regime. Santhals have created. Why British were interested in this area? Because the railway development has started, and connectivity to the Kolkata will go from this particular area. Then, so somehow they have started flooding the people in this area. Then, so that they can have intervention in this area, they have flooded the people from the Bengal, they have flooded the people from different areas, and that created the outsider problem in the Santhal. Similarly, over here also, in the Mundas also, the Khunt Kattidar system of the, or Khunt system of the Mundas, forest clearing rights, were usurped by many outsiders. And that's how it initially, it was a judicial fight. But then later on, what it became, so it turned into a kind of, that when judiciary say koi problem solved nahi ho raha tha, so it turned into a big movement under the leadership of the Birsa Munda. Okay? So maybe next time, what question can be asked? Khunt Kattidar system. What is it? Okay? So forest clearing system, whereby forests were cleared, and then after, the people had the traditional rights to inhabit that area. So now let's come to the next point. So after this one, so this is also one interesting part, the next question where we need to know few more stuff. In the context of the Indian history, Rakhmabai case of 1884 revolved around. Then, so Rakhmabai case revolved around. So in this, basically, अगर जो ये difficult question था, it was, but then it was a question of elimination also. How it was a question of elimination, and then there are other stories associated with it. So we'll tell you. First of all, the very first part is mentioned, women's right to gain education. The case is in 1884, and we are talking about the women's right to gain education. Is it right or not? Why it is not right? Women have already got right to education, or it has already been mentioned, where? Wood's Dispatch. Wood's Dispatch of 1854. It has already mentioned that women must be given, women education was promoted, and even if that is not right, so you remember Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. You have studied about him, and Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, he was that secretary, not only the, he was principal of the Sanskrit college, but then he was also secretary of the Bethune School. And what was Bethune School? First women college of India. Okay? So, first women college of India, and he was secretary of it. So that 1849 mein already it is promoted. Why? Once again it will be there in the 1884. Isme one hata do, and that was the question of elimination. Wherever is one, you can easily arrive at the answer. But this Rakhmabai issue, let me tell you, it wasn't mentioned in any of the books by that time. Okay? So it wasn't mentioned in any of the books by that time. Ab sab book mein hai, okay? And moreover, that here the student, that one note is given that why it was asked in that year, might be, that could be the reason. So Google Doodle pe celebration tha, okay? That a day was given to the Rakhmabai, okay? That a doodle was created on her 153rd birthday, okay? So that might be the reason, but then verified, I cannot say that verified or non-verified. Let's come to the next part and some other things which are around this particular question, which could be the possible question for the some other years. Age of Consent Act and restitution of the conjugal rights. Then, so those were the time when child marriage was very usual. Then, and बहुत सारे cases में तो बच्चे पैदा होते, after 3-4 years only the child marriage happened. Then, so now Rakhmabai, then, so Rakhmabai was that when she was born, her father's death has happened. Her mother, once again, she got married. And then after, the stepfather family was good. Then, but then her marriage has already, that has been solemnized with the Dadaji Bhikhaji. Okay? And there was an age difference also. Okay? So age difference at that point of time, near about 8 to 9 years, age difference was there. And moreover, those were the time that girls used to stay with their families. Okay? And after some point of time, when they're adulthood or baby, that the puberty stage when they are reaching, so then they can go and live with their husband. So she was educated at her stepfather's house, and in fact, she went on to become one of the initial doctors of India. Though she was not the first female doctor. First female doctor of India was Anandiben Joshi. Okay? And she happened to be one of the initial female doctors. But then, what happened? After some point of time, her mother's death has happened, and mother was having a lot of property, and she was the only child. Then, so all the property came in the name of the Rakhmabai. Now Dadaji Bhikhaji was interested that she must come and live with the Dadaji Bhikhaji. That is the restitution of the conjugal right. कि शादी के बाद दो लोगों को साथ में रहना चाहिए. That is the restitution of conjugal right. When she refused that this marriage was solemnized in the very early age, and I didn't had a sane mind, so then I would not accept him as my husband. Then this, and she seeked divorce at that time. Then when she seeked divorce, so he filed a case related to the restitution of conjugal right, and then court has given a punishment to Rakhmabai. Then that if she is not following the court orders, not going to live with the Dadaji Bhikhaji, so then she will have to languish in the jail. She decided that she will languish in jail rather than going with the house of this particular person. Then there were two people, B.M. Mulberry and then Pandita Ramabai, who were the lawyers of the Rakhmabai, and then this case was settled. In fact, one appeal was also sent to Queen Victoria, and as per the command of the Queen Victoria, okay, that Age of Consent Act was passed. But then if a question comes that which of the following cases, okay, are related to the Age of Consent Act, then or preceding the Age of Consent Act, so it will not be only Rakhma Bhai. There was one more case. Then there was one more case, and actually Age of Consent Act was passed after this particular thing. That was death of a girl, Phulomani Dasi. Okay? So death of a girl, Phulomani Dasi. She was a 11-year girl, Phulomani, and she was married to a 35-year-old man. Okay? And then after, he also gone with the restitution of conjugal rights, and then he performed forceful intercourse with the lady. Then she died immediately, and that created a kind of upsurge in the Bengal environment. And then after, people were talking about it, courts were flooded with the protest and then everything, and then finally Age of Consent Act was passed. Then, so what Age of Consent Act said? That before certain age, ठीक है, वो भी age बहुत define नहीं था, that 10 to 13 year के पहले, so ऐसा नहीं था कि they are clearly mentioning कि 13 year के पहले, 10 to 13 year के बीच में. So if the marriage is happening before it, so then it will not be accepted, they can reject it, but then 10 to 13 year would be the bracket of the age of consent. So that act was passed, still it is a child marriage itself, after the Age of Consent Act also. But little bit of improvement happened at that point of time. I hope you got it then. So let's come to the next one. This is also the question which you can solve. I would say that it is a moderate question. किसी को कोई question पूछना है? नहीं? It's all going fine, it means. ठीक है? So, chalo. So let's come to the next question. You can also solve this question with little bit of ease. अगर जो थोड़ा cool रहोगे एग्जाम में तो कर लोगे, ठीक है? And what is it? So now, पहला इंफॉर्मेशन किसी को नहीं पता था, ठीक है? The वित्तल विध्वंसक, ठीक है? वित्तल विध्वंसक, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by. Now, forget about Gopal Baba Valankar. Let's talk about the Jyotiba Phule, ठीक है? So Jyotiba Phule, we all study about the Jyotiba Phule, okay? And what were the important magazines of the Jyotiba Phule? He was the pioneer of the untouchable movement in India, and untouchability movement in India. And then, what was the name of his organization? Satya Sodhak Samaj. Tell me the name of his magazine which was highlighting the grievances of the untouchables. Gulamgiri. सबने पढ़ा है, ठीक है? So अगर जो obviously that when you studying about the Jyotiba Phule, चाहे बहुत सारे sources से पढ़ रहे हो, तो जब if he could have written this Vittal Vidhwansak, तो कहीं ना कहीं तो mention होता ना. Gulamgiri was his magazine of the that untouchability. So then you can write in front of Jyotiba Phule, his magazine was Gulamgiri. Option cut. Then Mohandas Karamchandra Gandhi. What was the name of his magazine? अभी लिखा हमने, ठीक है? Harijan, ठीक है? So Harijan, he is cut. Then Bhimrao Ambedkar. What was the name of his magazine? Related to the untouchability, where he's contesting the caste system. You all know, सबको पता है यहाँ पे क्लास में. बताओ, annihilation of the caste. Haven't you heard it? सुना नहीं है? लिख लो आगे सामने. दिमाग में conviction आ जाएगा कि ये तीनों तो नहीं है, जो बचा कर लो. So यहाँ पे combination नहीं दिया है. They haven't given you combination that 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4. But then just write whatever you know, then, and then accordingly you can arrive at the answer. Now let's come to the who was Baba Gopal, the Gopal Baba Valankar. Gopal Baba Valankar was also the follower of the Jyotiba Phule, okay? And in fact, they both of them were the compatriots. Then they were working together. This is the time when Aryan invasion theory was very popular, okay? And it was in the vogue that many people accepted that there is a Aryan invasion. So then both of the people, they were accepting this racial theory, and they were of the view that rest of the people in India, upper caste, then they are the Aryans, and then original inhabitants of the India are those people who are the untouchables. Okay? So then this is what was their view, and then both cooperated with each other. Moreover, that one of the relative of this Gopal Baba Valankar was Ramabai, okay? And in fact, it is because of the intervention of the Gopal Baba Valankar that contact with the Bhimrao Ambedkar's family has happened, and Ramabai was married to Bhimrao Ambedkar. Ambedkar also considered Phule and Baba Valankar as his guru, okay? His inspiration. And Baba Valankar also belonged to the same community to which the Ambedkar was belonging, and that was the community of the Mahar. Then, now, so एक काम कर सकते हो that there was one more Jyotiba Phule's the possible question which I believe. एक question आया था mains paper में, ठीक है? And not in the GS paper, but it was in the sociology optional. Okay? I'll tell you the year also. So sociology optional, I think in 2016 or 2017 paper. Then, and the question was about the Jyotiba Phule. The question was that write the intervention of Jyotiba Phule as an agricultural reformist. Generally, we talk about the Jyotiba Phule as a that the person who spearheaded the untouchability movement. But then here they are talking about the agricultural reformer. Then there was another book of the Jyotiba Phule, and it was written in the Marathi language. Then, so I'm writing the name. वैसे कहाँ लिखूँ? Just 1 minute, because ये note down कर लेना. मेरे हिसाब से this would be fine. So, चलो I'm just mentioning, because once I change it to नहीं इसमें mark से हो जाएगा. See how compromised I am with the technology. Yeah, fine. हो जाएगा. This is the name of the book. ठीक है? Set Karyacha. एक मिनट. Set, oh, just sorry. So Set Karyarcha Asud. ये बीच में ऐड कर लेना. Set Karyarcha Asud was the name of the book, and it's in this book he has mentioned about the dire situation of the farmers in the Bombay presidency. Dire situation of the farmers in or peasants in Bombay presidency. Now understand. So what he has mentioned, that he actually, what he said or what he has written in this book, that it is because of the traditional division of the society into Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. The privilege has been accrued to the upper section, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. And then, because of this traditional division of the society, the peasant and the labor peasant status has been given to the untouchables. So there was no such opportunity to untouchables to move out of the profession of the agriculture. Then, and moreover, they have always worked as a that wage laborers, and what they are getting peanuts in the lieu of whatever work they have done in the farm fields. And then he has historically listed that how from the historical times, from the very long time, that there was no economic improvement in the status of the untouchables. So basically, once again, he's talking about the untouchables only, but in the farming community. Okay? So that could be a possible question. बहुत बार क्या होता है, जैसे I'll tell you one thing, that CSAT paper, okay, and this, you might not be knowing that before 2013, when the mains question was, paper was very different, so 2 optionals and then 2 GS papers. So that was the time in GS there used to be statistics then, and statistics was one of the portion which was highly scoring. 70 to 75 marks were asked in the GS paper too. Now, you know, statistics has gone from the syllabus, but it's there in CSAT. And I have seen in the recent past that many questions from the statistics directly, without changing the figures, coming in the CSAT paper. Okay? So UPSC has its own way of asking the questions. Okay? Not even a single figure was changed. The same question has been asked, and then वो जैसे एक situation देते हैं, उस situation में 3-4 questions are there. Then, so 3-4 questions. So once you settle with that question, automatically your 3-4 questions are correct. Then, so UPSC has its own way of asking the cross questions from the different sections. So be prepared for it, that maybe. So according to me, that this could be a possible thing. Let's come to the next one. So now we are in the, अभी भी है थोड़ा बहुत, ठीक है? So, but I would say that ki complete the part today. Those who are question number 3, ठीक है? So question number 3. already we have discussed, but फिर से एक बार दोबारा mention करते हैं. Who among the following was associated as a secretary with the Hindu female school, which later came to be known as Bethune Female School? When it was founded, so Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. We have already that in classes also we generally discussed then. So Bethune School. Now I'll tell you something related to it. 1849, this school was founded by J. Eliot. Okay? So his full name is John Eliot Drinkwater Bethune. Very interesting name. So John Eliot Drinkwater Bethune, and it was the first school, okay? First school for the Hindu girls, okay? Because in the other sections of the society, education for the women was not accepted. So then he founded it because the Bengali lot was bit progressive, and this Bengali lot, they wanted that the girls' education. So how it all started? There was this Raja in the Bengal, particularly in Calcutta area, and the name of the Raja was Dakshina Ranjan Mukherjee. So the school started functioning from his house. In 1849, when the school was founded, 21 Hindu girls were there, but by the end of that year, 1849, 80 girls were enrolled in the college. So 80 girls were enrolled in the college, and then after that Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar became the secretary of this college when it has improved to the 80. And then moreover, after the 1850s, there is a huge growth and the girls' education started. Some of the big names associated with this college, you have already studied about them. Okay? So these big names, the first lady who gave her speech in Congress Assembly or annual session of the Congress, who was she? Kadambini Ganguly. She was one of the initial graduate of this particular school. Then, apart from the Kadambini Ganguly, majority of the women revolutionaries of the Bengal, they were associated with it. Have you heard about the name of the Beena Das? She studied from this particular college. In fact, there was association of the, after the independence part, India's independence, even Begum Khalida Zia of the Bengal has a little bit of association with this particular college. You have heard about the Begum Khalida Zia. Then, I think, so majority of the big names of the Indian freedom struggle, okay, particularly from the women's section, they all studied from this particular college. Then, Preeti Lata Wadeder, remember? She was also one of the student of this college. So as Kalpana Dutt Joshi. Remember, where was he? Hindustan Republican Army, Master Surya Sen. So these all girls were associated with this particular college. Okay? Now let's come to the next part. So we'll talk about few more things. Trade Dispute Act of 1929 provided for. So Trade Dispute Act of 1929 provided for the participation of workers in the management of, yes. Acha, it's पे move नहीं हो रहा, okay, it will move, I think. Is it? Yes, आ गया. So the Trade Dispute Act of 1949 provided for participation of workers in the management of industry. Let's eliminate. Then, so 1929, what has happened? Do you remember any of the events of the 1949? कभी-कभी क्या होता है कि that when the question is asked, so just imagine that what happened in 1929. Lahore session of the Congress Purna Swaraj doesn't seem to be associated with it. Then Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev. Okay? And then what Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt has done? They have thrown a bomb in the assembly. You remember that what was happening at this point of time? Trade dispute was getting passed. So agar participation of workers in the management of the industry will happen, obviously better will become too good. So why they will throw the bomb? So first can be eliminated. Then arbitrary powers to the management to quell industrial dispute. So this becomes difficult. Here elimination is not very much possible. Then an intervention by the British court in the event of trade dispute. Then so question ये है कि intervention by the British court. क्या पहले dispute में कोई court intervention नहीं होता था? Always there would be intervention. If there is a dispute, there could be a possibility of the intervention of the court. Then, so it is not a unique thing. So that can be eliminated. Now what remains is arbitrary powers to the management to quell industrial dispute, and then a system of tribunals and ban on strikes. Then, so this could be a system of tribunal and ban on strikes. Ban on strikes meaning that this is the right which is enjoyed by the people, okay? And moreover, this is the way, the strikes are the way to get addressed their grievances. Then, so get addressed their grievances, and obviously it seems like that if British government is passing this because they want the smooth functioning and not going into the lap of the laborers, then so this could be a possible scenario where you can go ahead with the answer. But then I would say if you haven't studied, it becomes little difficult if you are finding yourself in a precarious situation in the paper, not just because of the history but because of the other sections also. So if you are comfortable कि क्वेश्चन देखने के बाद तुम्हें थोड़ा सा कॉन्फिडेंस महसूस हो रहा है, अच्छे से जा रहे हो, सो देन यू कैन सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन. बट देन आई वुड से कि मॉडरेट क्वेश्चन होगा. जनरली इतने डीप में जाके कोई पढ़ाता नहीं है, सच्चाई है, ठीक है, दैट ऑल द एक्ट्स एंड द अदर थिंग्स. सो दिस पार्ट आई वुड ऑल्सो नॉट से कि तुम्हें भी जाने की ज़रूरत है until and unless there are n number of the questions from this section. So the two questions were there in this part, and actually इसके पीछे वाले time पे before 2017 there were very lesser number of the questions from these type of the acts. So let's come to the next question, which is consider the following statements related to. So the Factories Act 1881 was passed with a view to fix the wages of the industrial workers and to allow workers to form trade unions. Then, so there is very less information available about it. Then, that though it is mentioned that whichever all places it has been mentioned, but then Factories Act generally you don't find in the books. Then, and then what happens was passed with a view to fix the wages of the industrial workers and to allow workers to form trade unions. Will it be possible that British authority will be allowing the that workers to form the trade unions then? And in fact, tell me that when India's first trade union was created? 1900? 20s will be saying that ki formalized one, but the first trade union was 1891. Then, and though it was not the formal one, informal way, and what is the name? Bombay Mills and Mill Hand Association. पढ़ा है कहीं पे? पढ़ा है, क्लास में भी पढ़ा है. जो लोग विजन में पढ़े हो, obviously पढ़ा है. जो लोगों ने मुझसे पढ़ा है, उसने पढ़ा है. NM लोखंडे. भूल गए? So लोखंडे, you have written, I remember. So that was the first trade union of India. Bombay Mills and Mill Hand Association. So this is the first trade union organization of India in 1891. Dates also you have written. Then, so in this scenario, that trade unions अगर जो 1881 में होता, तो obviously that point of time it would have been created. And then NM Lokhande created not with the name of the trade union, but Bombay Mills and Mill Hand Association. Let's look at the second question, second statement, which is about the NM Lokhande only. Was a pioneer in organizing the labor movement in British India. Right statement. Okay? In fact, we have mentioned about him that he was the author of the Deen Bandhu. Okay? So he was the author of the Deen Bandhu. And what was Deen Bandhu? The weekly Marathi newspaper. Then, so let me tell you something more about it. NM Lokhande was associated with once again Satya Sodhak Samaj. ठीक है? And इससे जो possible question आगे हो सकते हैं, ठीक है? तो NM Lokhande was associated with the Satya Sodhak Samaj. He was the follower of the Jyotiba Rao Phule, and moreover, then NM Lokhande also belonged to the same untouchable society of the Mali community. Then, so he has also faced the brunt of that particular untouchability. At the same point of time, what were his achievements? So when it comes to this weekly Marathi magazine, not only he was the editor of the magazine, but then there was one more person whose name was Krishna Rao Pandurang Bhalekar. Then, and it happens to be the first newspaper of India on workers' grievances. Then, what is the name of the first that book on the workers' grievance? ये भी पढ़ा है तुमने. It could be a possible thing. Sramajeebi, written by Shashipad Banerjee in 1870s. Okay? So 1870. So that was the first text which was written on the worker grievance, and this is the first newspaper written on the worker grievance. So Deen Bandhu started its publication from 1881. Two people were there, and from 1881 onwards, so sorry, that it started little early than 1880, and 1880 onwards, it was completely written by the NM Lokhande. So NM Lokhande's, there are two contributions. One is the Deen Bandhu, and second is the Bombay Mill and Mill Hand Association, the worker movement of the Bombay he has started. But then I'm telling you something more, some more facts about him. So NM Lokhande was treated with very high respect by the British government. Then in 1895, British government has given him the title of Rao Bahadur. Okay? So Rao Bahadur, then, and he was also given the one of the award which was known as the Justice of Peace. Okay? Why this title was given to the NM Lokhande? The reason is that there was a communal right in 1895 between Hindus and Muslims in the Bombay Presidency area, and with his negotiation skill only, he was able to solve the communal right which broke out in the Bombay Presidency. Then, so he was always treated as in a very respectable way by the British government at that time. So the title which was given to him was Rao Bahadur. Then, as far as the Factory Act 1881 is concerned, it was related to the problem of child labor. Then, so problem of child labor, we have given some additional facts related to it. So you can see that fact from this particular resource. And in fact, Indian Factory Act 1891 फिर से revise हुआ. So in that revision also, once again, the child labor was talked about. But understand, in दोनों acts में, अब एक बार ध्यान से समझना, the first Factory Act of 1881, it said that employment of the children under the age of 7 must be prohibited. ठीक है? And moreover, the working hours of the children who are above the age of 7, 9 घंटे से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. Then there was a change in this provision in 10 year के बाद जो नया Factory Act आया. What was the change? So it said that minimum age अब 7 से 9 साल कर दिया. That 9 years से नीचे के बच्चे, so the children whose age is below 9 years, they cannot be employed. Only above 9 years they can be employed. Working hours, earlier it was a 9 hours per day, and now it was 7 hours per day. ठीक है? And understand, ठीक है? This is for the Indian industries. Children in Indian industry. There was no such ceiling made on the British industry. In the coffee plantation, in the tea plantations, then, and in the British industries, children of any age can work, and they can work for the 12 hours. So they were exempted. Okay? So they were exempted. So keep in mind that British would be too generous in 1880. एक हमेशा दिमाग में रखना that whenever you are finding these type of the question, just remember about the intention of the British authority in a particular age. Are they too open to give so many concessions and privileges to Indians that might guide you in the answer? Remember about their intentions according to the age. Then, so let's come to the next part. Already we are in the rear end. So personality based questions, yeah, thoda repeated portion hai. One of the very favorite area of the UPSC. And then Congress, pre-Congress association, 1 question. Freedom struggle of Indian phase, 4 questions, and freedom struggle abroad, outside. So then 6 questions from this particular section. And then it is a favorite section ki har saal you can find, hardly there is a year where there is no question based on the personality. Then, so that would be there. In fact, not just freedom struggle इसमें लिखा हुआ है, but I would say that personalities of the social religious reforms are also the personality based question. ठीक है? इसमें थोड़ा limited दिया हुआ है, but otherwise if you look at it, so that social religious movement को include कर दें तो 9 questions would be there. Then, so personality is a favorite part, and as it has been equally highlighted in both the parts of the syllabus. Then, so let's look at it. So consider the following pairs. Radhakant Dev, first president of the British Indian Association. Okay? It's an easy thing that 7-8 organization you study before the foundation of the Congress. What are these 7-8 organizations? Then, so one is the Landholder Society by Dwarkanath Tagore, and then after this particular British India Association of the, and actually British India Association was the merger of 2 organizations which been there earlier. Then apart from it, the major organization was the Madras Mahajan Sabha, okay? Then Indian Association of Calcutta, and then Bombay Presidency Association. So let's look at the second one. Gajulu Lakshmi Narasu Chatti, founder of the Madras Mahajan Sabha. It's an easy fact, everyone mentions, every book mentions that who were the founders of the Madras Mahajan Sabha. M.V. Raghava Cheriyar, then G. Subramania Iyer, and P. Anand Charlu. So G.L. Chetty was not the founder. And then Surendranath Banerjee, founder of the Indian Association, which was created in 1776. And then Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose were the founders of this Calcutta-based organization. So ये factual portion है. एक page में इसके notes होते हैं, ठीक है? Easily you can create and easily you can go with this one. So but एक ही question पूछा है आज तक पिछले 10 साल में. ये तो 7 year का है, but then in last 10 years. only one question. Then let's come to, he wrote biographies of Mazzini, Garibaldi, Shivaji, and Sri Krishna, stayed in America for some time, and was also elected to the Central Assembly. He was. So, isme, now understand, we have studied about Veer Savarkar, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, during the revolutionary nationalism phase 1. What we mentioned? That he wrote Mazzini Charitra. Who was Mazzini? The Italian revolutionary. Then, and that Mazzini Charitra, when he has written, when he was in Britain. So, Savarkar never went to that America. वैसे तो option में नहीं दिया हुआ है, but since Mazzini word is mentioned, so that's why we are mentioning. Then, when you study the part of the factors which favored the rise of the nationalism, and there we mentioned that inspiration from the abroad. So time and again it was the Lala Lajpat Rai who was given the examples of the Mazzini, Garibaldi. Okay? So Garibaldi was his favorite character. In fact, in almost all the speeches of the Lala Lajpat Rai before 1910, it included the example of the Garibaldi. So Mazzini and Garibaldi were the features, that were personalities in the Italy's unification. You read this part in the world history. So this is a kind of question, I would say, that kisme jo bhi mention hai source, but then almost all the sources have this particular information that Lala Lajpat Rai was writing these all things. Then, so let's come to the next part. Consider the following. It is also an easy question, the last one. Take it, 2019. Consider the following pairs: movement, organization, and the leaders. So All India Untouchability League. Tell me when it was founded. All India Untouchability League. 1932. Yes. And when? After what? Communal Award, Pune Pact ke baad. Gandhi created All India Untouchability League when the Communal Award has happened, and then after Gandhi went on fast unto death. In fact, this question has also been asked in the prelims exam in 2012. So Gandhi went into fast unto death in protest against the Communal Award to the depressed classes. Then, and what was the Communal Award? Separate electorate for the depressed classes. So then Gandhi announced his fast unto death, and as such, there was an agreement between Gandhi and Ambedkar, which is known as Pune Pact. So what was agreed in the Pune Pact? That it was agreed in the Pune Pact that seats would be reserved for the depressed classes, then in the provinces and in the center, but then there would be no separate electorate. And originally, the separate electorate was the part of the Government of India Act 1935. But then this particular Pune Pact was amended and included into the Government of India Act 1935. So there is no separate electorate for the depressed classes in 1935, but in fact it was reserved seats. Then, so the very first one, All India Untouchability League. Gandhi created after this Pune Pact, and this All India Untouchability League, later on it came to be known as Harijan Sevak Sangh. Okay? So Harijan Sevak Sangh, which Gandhi has created for the upliftment of the untouchables. Then, so that's right. All India Kisan Sabha 1936. When we talk about the peasant movements in the 20th century, so then we mention कि एक तो NCM के टाइम पे बहुत सारे peasant organizations थे, and what were those? Awadh Kisan Sabha, UP Kisan Sabha, Eka movement, and then we talk about that during the 1932, after the stoppage of the civil disobedience movement, what were the organization? Utkal Kisan Sabha, okay? Then Karuna Sindhu Roy in the Surma Valley of the Assam, he initiated the peasant movement. Utkal Kisan Sabha in Odisha, and N.G. Ranga and Swami Sahajanand Saraswati, they founded All India Kisan Sabha. Okay? And then moreover, iske baad then Bucks movement, where also Swami Sahajanand Saraswati is a leader, apart from the Rahul Sanskritayan. So this is also a factual question, but easy question. ये ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमने पढ़ा नहीं है, या generally सब लोग cover करते हैं. Self-respect movement, E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. Periyar. Have you studied? You have studied. Okay? And then he became the member of the South Indian Liberal Federation. He was popular in Tamil Nadu because of the self-respect movement. Then, and what was the self-respect movement? That he was instilling little bit of confidence in the community that they must respect themselves to get the respect from the others. Then, so untouchable community, or basically the backward community of India, that they themselves many a times were considering कि हम तो lower caste हैं, हमारा status इनके बराबर हो नहीं सकता. If you remember the story of the Jyotiba Phule himself, his family was like this, that education is the profession of the upper class. How come a Sudra women would be educated? They protested Savitribai status. So that was also one of the problem, that people have accepted untouchability, backwardness as a way of life, and they are not entitled to the good things in the life. So then he initiated this self-respect movement, that you are equal human being, you will have to respect yourself, and then you can get respect from the others. Because of it, he was very popular. He was given the title of Periyar, and then after, he became the main leader of this particular party. Which party? South Indian Liberal Federation. But in fact, he changed South Indian Liberal Federation name to the Dravid Kadagam, Dravidian Federation, which later on went on to become Dravid Munnetra Kadagam, Dravidian Progressive Federation. Got it? So all the three, easy question, you can solve it. And obviously, थोड़ा बहुत तो study, बिना study के तो easy question होता नहीं है, ठीक है? So study is required. Then with reference to Indian national movement, consider the following. Many a times you can solve the questions of the history, or basically history क्या है? Prelims के paper में तो सब subject fused ही हैं. So when you are studying the polity में initial exercise, I hope all of you, despite whatever be the views of the faculties and the teachers in the market, everybody goes with the Lakshmikant. पढ़ते हो कि नहीं? खरीदते तो सब हो, पढ़ते भी हो, obviously useful भी रहता है. There is no doubt about it that prelims exam में काफ़ी useful रहता है. And in mains exam, it might not have that much relevance, but then many a time some direct questions can be solved with that particular book. So it has mentioned, you have that the Constituent Assembly and who were the important members and everything. So let's look at it. Sir Tej Bahadur Sapru, President All India Liberal Federation. Many a times you read that Tej Bahadur Sapru's organization, All India Liberal Federation, and he participated in all the roundtable conferences. Then, so that is one. Then K.C. Niyogi, member of the Constituent Assembly. That is also, you read in that part itself, that when you're reading the constitutional background of the Indian Constitution, so there you read, and so as you read about the P.C. Joshi also, during this period only. Then, so all the three, the General Secretary, in fact, in 1834, when there was a ban on the that Communist Party of India, so then P.C. Joshi reorganized it in India. Then, so this is, I would not say this is a difficult fact. If you're reading some sources, in those sources, these all are there. Then let's come to the next question. Abhi kitna bacha hua hai? Just let me see. Few questions. Then kar lo, and 10-15 minutes, it will be all over. With reference to Indian national movement, consider the following pairs ho chuka hai. In the context of the colonial India, yes, Sahnawaz Khan, Prem Kumar Sehgal, Gurbakh Singh Dhillon. Very easy question. So they were given punishment. Then they were given punishment during the Red Fort trials. And then in fact, एक नारा था दिल्ली में उस टाइम पे. There was a slogan which was very popular. लाल किले से आई आवाज, ठीक है? Dhillon Sehgal और Sahnawaz, ठीक है? So this is what was the slogan which was popular in Delhi, and then people were using it frequently, and it led to the huge upsurge in Delhi. Then, so that was the one part. In fact, in this, what else we can add? That they were the leaders of the Indian National Army, obviously, and Rashid Ali's that punishment in Calcutta trials. Have you heard about it? Rashid Ali, 7-year punishment was given to Rashid Ali during Calcutta trials, and it led to the Calcutta upsurge. So these are the two events that in Delhi, Red Fort trials ke time pe, these three were given the punishment, and then the Delhi upsurge started, and in Calcutta trials, that Rashid Ali's punishment has led to the upsurge. So who were they? Easy question, very easy question, officers of the Indian National Army. Then so question number, कुछ पूछना है तुम लोगों को? Anyone who want to ask any question? कल ही पूछ लिया था, ठीक है? मुझे सबसे अच्छा क्वेश्चन वही लगा कि सर तुक्के से कर सकते हैं. So now consider the following freedom fighters. Then Barindra Kumar Ghosh, and then Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee and Ras Bihari Bose. So let's talk a little bit about them. Then answer पे बाद में आएंगे. That what is the answer? So who was associated with the Gadar party? Easy था, ठीक है? We all know. But then let's talk about the other people also. So Barindra Kumar Ghosh, who was he? He was the brother of the Aurobindo Ghosh. Then brother of the Aurobindo Ghosh, and he was involved during the Swadesi movement. He was revolutionary. Aurobindo was the extremist leader then, and he was the revolutionary. So what they have created? They have created Barindra Ghosh along with the Ulaskar Dutt. Then so Ulaskar Dutt, and they were the members of the Anusilan Samiti. So they have created Maniktalla group, and Maniktalla was known for the bomb making. So then Alipur conspiracy case was filed and they were arrested, and after the arrest they were sent to jail. Okay? Now sent to jail, which jail? Cellular jail, Andamans. Okay? So they were sent to cellular jail, Andamans, and interesting part is the only person who escaped from the cellular jail was Barindra Kumar Ghosh. Okay? In 1615 he escaped from the cellular jail. It is difficult. Okay? It is like the Indian Shashank redemption. Yes. So Indian Shashank redemption, and then what happened? He landed in Puri. He disguised in Puri, then where he was working with, once again he started revolutionary activity. In 1918, once again he was arrested and he was sent to the cellular jail. So, so British redemption. And then after, the amnesty program, which came in the 1920s, then he was released. But then, I'll tell you one more part of it, that initially Ulaskar Dutt and Barindra Ghosh, they were given death punishment. Okay? It is the Chittaranjan Das who successfully not only defended Aurobindo Ghosh, but he also defended them. And the capital punishment to these two revolutionaries was converted to the cellular jail punishment. So in 1920s, he was released from the jail. And then after, he became the member of his brother's organization. And what is the organization? Aurobindo Society. Where? Pondicherry. Okay? So he became a kind of that part of it. In 1929, he has returned back to Calcutta and involved himself in the journalism. So that is his story. And in fact, he was also associated with the magazine, the most famous magazine of the Anusilan Samiti, Jugantar Patrika. Then what is Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee? So he was one of the founder of the Indian, what was the name? The very first organization, that Indian Republican Army. Okay? And later on it became that Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. So he was one of the founder of that organization along with Shashindra Sanyal. And moreover, he was also many a times arrested, but then his tenure as a revolutionary remained in between 1900, that 1913 onwards to 1925. After that, he involved himself in the normal political discourse. And after the India's independence, he happened to be one of the Rajya Sabha member from UP till 1960s. Then Ras Bihari Bose. So Ras Bihari Bose was the first Behrupiya of the Indian revolutionary. Behrupiya, you understand? What is the meaning of this word? That the one who is too good in disguising. And then he was not only he was involved. So Ras Bihari Bose was involved in the killing, the plot which was created to kill the Viceroy Hardinge, which is called as Delhi-Lahore conspiracy case. So in this he was unsuccessful. Now when the police started the investigation, okay? So police started the investigation, he took a night train and he was in Delhi and he landed in Kolkata, and then he started to behave like very normal that he was not in Delhi. So somehow British were never able to arrest him, okay? Though he was the one who was involved in it. And then after, when the Ghadar movement started, so he re-guided the Ghadar movement. And then he was also arrested for some time, but then he was released, and in very early age, in 1923 itself, he migrated to Japan and he got the Japanese citizenship. And from Japan only, he was organizing the ordinary activities of India. In fact, he was instrumental in creation of the INA, which was created by Captain Mohan Singh. Okay? So it is his negotiation which is coming to the rescue of it, and it is he who has said that Subhash Chandra Bose would be guiding the INA. And his death also happened in 1945. So let's come to, so answer you already know that Ghadar association was the Ras Bihari Bose, not the Barindra Ghosh and Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee. Then let's come to, with reference to Indian freedom struggle, consider the following events. Easy है, बहुत easy है. Date तुम भी बता सकते हो. Tell me the date of the mutiny in the Royal Indian Navy. HMIS Talwar. What is the date? 18th of Feb 1946. Remember? 18th of Feb 1946. And next day क्या हुआ? Cabinet mission. 19th of Feb 1946, cabinet mission was sent. Then Quit India movement, 8th August 1942. Very easy. Then second round table conference, September 1931. Okay? So September 1931, and accordingly you can arrange it. So chronology based question. Then let's come to the next one. which one of the following events happened earliest? ये भी chronology based question है. So ये थोड़ा difficult हो सकता है. I would say that this would be little difficult. So इसमें क्या है? स्वामी दयानंद established आर्य समाज, easy one, 1875. But then नील दर्पण was a difficult one. अब लोग ये तो पढ़ते हैं कि नील दर्पण लिखा गया था. People don't read that when, in which year it was written. Then, so that is a difficult one. 1858-59. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay wrote Anandamath, 1882. Generally we talk about the Anandamath, but then nobody talks about the year of the Anandamath. And the last one, Satyendranath Tagore became the first Indian to succeed in the Indian civil services, 1864. Then it's mentioned on the UPSC website and everybody studies it. So अब इसमें ऑप्शन में अरेंज करने के लिए नहीं दिया हुआ है. अरेंजमेंट से मुझे लगता है कि ऑप्शंस बन सकते हैं. अच्छा, अर्लीस्ट पूछा है. सो दीन बंधु मित्र, नील दर्पण, अर्लीस्ट. डिफिकल्ट आई वुड से कि इतनी क्रोनोलॉजी नहीं याद होती है. सो यू कैन स्किप इन दिस पार्ट. विथ रेफरेंस टू द हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग पेयर्स. ये पिछले साल नहीं 2020 का क्वेश्चन है. सो विथ रेफरेंस टू, लिख रहा है? यस. So Aurang in charge of the treasury of the state. It's a difficult fact that not only in the that modern में बहुत rarely they ask with the terms, then generally the term definition is there in the ancient and medieval. Ancient and medieval generally they ask. So if the paper is a plenty with those questions, the terminologies from the ancient and medieval, and many times they are difficult also. Okay, often 50% of time they are difficult. So here also I would say it was not an easy one. Aurang here NCERT में एक source mention किया हुआ है our past 3 में, but then obviously how much books you will be running after, that is one such thing. So Aurang is the warehouse. ठीक है, Aurang is the warehouse and difficult one, easily नहीं find होगा. Baniya, Indian agent of the East India Company. ठीक है, so Baniya was the term which was, Baniya is that used for the community also, and the community who are good in the trade. Then so this is something that whenever anybody from the foreign land, they are coming to any land, so they will have to enlist the help of the Indian community, okay? Or any community which is the local, who has the knowledge of the local business and local trade. So British were enlisting this help, and they have enlisted the help of the Baniya community. So they worked as the agent of the East India Company. And then Mirasidar is the only thing that generally people know, okay? So who are Mirasidar? They are the land owners in the South India. Generally, we talk about the Mirasidars at which place? Rayatwadi settlement. You remember? Polygar and Mirasidar. So they are the village elites who hold the land and they are paying their own revenues. And moreover, what is the additional fact about the Mirasidar? That many a times British have included Mirasidar in the revenue establishments also. Okay? So this is the fact that we know. The last one. अब इसमें पूछा है कि which of the following pairs above are correctly matched. 3 तो चलो match है, but rest of the things, I think it is difficult. ठीक है? Better to leave this question. Beating around the bush is not right in this type. And once again, 2021 में एक difficult question था with reference to Madnapalle. That is Chittoor area. ठीक है? Of Andhra Pradesh. Which one of the following statement is correct? So, as we all know, Rabindranath Tagore translated the national anthem from Bengali to English here. It is mentioned in one of the NCERT, but that is a Indian polity NCERT, ठीक है? And that is a social and political life 1 unit 1. इसके अलावा किसी और सोर्स पे मेंशन नहीं है, ना तो किसी स्पेक्ट्रम में, ना तो किसी पेंगुइन पब्लिकेशन में, ओरिएंट ब्लैक स्वान पब्लिकेशन में कहीं मेंशन नहीं है, ठीक है? सो दीज फैक्ट्स बिकम डिफिकल्ट. नाउ पिछला वाला भी, ठीक है? That Aurang, Baniya, Mirasidar, they are not mentioned. Even Mirasidar is not mentioned in any of the popular book except Shekhar Bandyopadhyay, ठीक है? Only in the Shekhar Bandyopadhyay he has mentioned about the Mirasidars. Rest of the things are not there. So in the normal sources, if these questions are not there, it will not decide your. Last question is not the question of the modern. इसमें गलती से दे दिया है. These archaeologists. So Madnapalle question, and then after archaeologists. James Burgess, Eliot, and these all. This is related to the ancient India. So now this is all 7-year paper discussion. Now you can ask question. कुछ भी अगर जो पूछना है तो please एक बार पूछो, ठीक है? बताओ. Yes, give him mic. एक बार एक-एक करके.
Sir, I have two questions.
हाँ, you can
First is, sir, even there are less question asked by UPSC for chronological. So there are multiple timelines in modern histories which
Yes.
are really confusing. So,
Just say some examples you give. Some
for
timelines.
example, Mysore and Maratha and Carnatics. they
But then
overlaps
when
with
you are
each other.
talking about the autonomous disease states, we have already discussed last day that इससे बहुत कम questions पूछे हैं, ठीक है?
But sometimes we can solve with the help of chronology the other questions as well.
Yes.
So that's why I'm asking how to cope up with that, the confusing timeline.
See, the timeline, basically, if you, I just want to know that who are not the classroom student of Vision in this class? Anyone? A tertiary student. So there are two people, but rest of the people you are comfortable that some of you that have done the chronology. So chronology you need to do. See, that in my classes I have done it. Then that wherever, in whichever batches I have taken the classes, I have done it. So then, you go ahead with that chronology. That if you have studied, even in the ancient medieval also, I have done the chronology. Then, so chronology, बिना उसके मैं कभी class start ही नहीं करता. I also strongly believe in this, that if you have to understand the subject of the history, first you must be well versed with the chronology. So in chronology, that what you can do, that whatever I have done in the classes, additional to that, in those notes, you can add some of the dynasties. Last day also I mentioned, particularly in ancient and medieval, you can add, and so as in the modern में थोड़ा कम scope है. Modern में I have covered a hell lot of things. Then, so if you feel like so that something is to be added, so add it. And then I would better suggest that this chronology part, generally what you do, कि market से तुम लोग एक chart खरीद लेते हो, ठीक है? उसमें सब कुछ mention होता है. घर में ले जाके चिपका देते हो. But then it is not in your own handwriting. So basically it is of no use. Then most of the time, 98% of the people neglect it. They just paste it in the room, but they don't use it. When you will be using, when you are creating the same chart, even the same chart you are creating at the home, then you are pasting in your room, that will be helpful to you because it is in your own handwriting. You have invested time in it. So when you have invested time in it, it will be useful to you. You will be able to remember. You will be able to grasp. You will be able to remember that how I created this line, that line, that line. So then this exercise must be done by you. And there is a hell lot of importance of creation of your own notes or some of the strategic tables that you need to create. So I would recommend this exercise. Your second question you can ask.
Sir, the second question is a journal one. That the whole year we are able to complete our goals like in a detailed manner and in discipline. But when the exam is near, we face some stress.
Yes.
But
obvious.
on that period, in this period, we are not able to complete our goals. So how to cope up with that?
See, that it has been talked n number of the time, not just in the UPSC exam, but in all the streams and everywhere. People of the big reputation, okay, they all have gone with the mental issues, okay, and particularly that mental strength, the peace of mind. I would give you examples of the two people only, okay, the big names. Then, so the lady who was the record breaker gymnast of the US, okay, very recently, she has. So I am forgetting her name, Simone, okay. The last name, I am not able to, Simone Biles, then you know that. She suffered, she has to withdraw from the previous Olympics. In uske previous Olympics, she has broken all the records. Then, what is the problem? The mental issues, okay? The mental health was not taken care. And so as Mr. Virat Kohli. You just look at his interview when he has suffered it. So we all go through it. It doesn't matter that in what part of that, in what particular career you are, even you are a big name in the industry. If this would not have been the issue, there would not have been the issue of the Sushant Singh Rajput. Okay? So it is a big issue, but we need to address. First of all, we need to see that, and you need to see that this exam, why you want to be in this exam, that why you want to clear this exam. You want something good for you. You want to maximize the happiness of your life. Obviously, this is the purpose. Happiness हो सकते हैं कि corruption करके भी ले सकते हैं. Then, but then the part is that we want to maximize our own happiness. Then, so for the prime goal is our happiness. Then, prime goal is our happiness, but the instrument to that happiness is this exam. Then, so give preference to your happiness. Okay? If you are very clear about it that your happiness is the most important thing, so then exam will not create a lot of anxiety within you. So exam is important. Be passionate about exam, but then try to be happy. Okay? And moreover, don't be too possessive about any exam or anything. You know, in life, when we become too possessive about something, that's when we lose it. Then, so I'm just giving you, obviously it is not the session of the inspiration, but then we need inspiration. We are human beings, we need inspiration, we need a little bit of motivation. So there is this very famous quotation of the Buddha I have shared with you in the classes also many a times, that when you are holding the fish tightly, the fish will slip out of your hand. Hold the fish lightly. Okay? So hold the fish lightly. When you are holding the fish lightly, it is entangled in your hand. It will never slip out of your hand. So it's not just about the exam, but with the people also. When you're too possessive, obsessive about anything, person, people, career, it slips out of your hand. Then we all become little desperate when our goals are not met. Be little chill about the things. Okay? Aaj kiya? Appreciate yourself. That even if you have set the goal, that today I'll be studying this entire portion. आधा किया उसके लिए अप्रिशिएट करो ठीक है दैट एटलीस्ट कम से कम आधा तो कर लिया आधा ही बचा है सो गो विद दैट अप्रोच वी विल हैव टू चेंज आवर अप्रोच एंड इन दिस रिगार्ड I would say that whenever we are facing any kind of anxiety, be in touch with the people whom you consider that they could be the best, that the people with whom you can share freely, easily, and then they can give you the better consolation. So be in touch with those people. They can be your mentors, they can be your teacher, they can be your friends also, depends. But then always consider it is all about maximizing your happiness. This exam is a goal to the happiness, but it is not the goal in itself. Then, chalo, you were asking some question. Then, anyone else? Last.
Hello, sir. Sir, usually there is a norm that we go with PYQs or the themes that is repeated in previous year. But sir, in subject like history, usually UPSC come up with some surprise question or something that is hidden in the pages of history. So how to prepare for that surprise on that final day?
See, already we have mentioned it for many a times. That surprise will not decide your selection. You just leave that kind of question. If it is a surprise for you, it is a surprise for everybody. That's what we are saying. So it's a kind of, consider the scenario, it is a dropped question in the exam. If you are not able to solve the question like they say Katha itself, then, so nobody knew it. It's a dropped question. It's only the mental game. You will have to be very strong with the mental game. That if it is very difficult, that you haven't seen this type of the question anywhere, so basically you need to leave it. Then mentally you will have to be prepared for it. So basically we all have a greed that keep maximize our attempts. I'll tell you why this has happened. See, we all, you know, excess of the suggestion and excess of watching the videos of everyone is also very harmful. As you know, excess of everything is bad. So what has happened in the recent past, that we all watch the toppers and everything, okay? And you must have seen that n number of the time, everybody is emphasizing that elimination, 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 and elimination was eliminated. Then, so the reason is that it has been fed into your mind. So, and another thing, that those were the time when the cutoff was high. Kal maine cutoff likhwaya tha, okay? So remember karo that 2016 tak, 2016 mein the cutoff was 116, which was a high cutoff. That is 58% is the cutoff. So in those scenarios, that there are n number of the people who come up with their mathematics. In fact, I was also like that. Then, so what is that mathematics? That we were going with the normal scenario, that if you attempt 92 questions, 93 questions, suppose that 93 questions you have attempted in those times, and out of the 93, if your 30 is incorrect, then, so 30 is incorrect, what is correct? 63. 63 translates into 126. And then, how much is there? So 10 questions are incorrect. So 10 question translates into how much? 1/3? Then, so it means 9 मान लो, so 3 question हटा दिया, 6 number हटा दिया, 126 में से 6 हटा दिया, 120. So this is what we are saying कि attempt ज़्यादा करो. ठीक है? 120 किसी भी scenario में मिल जाएगा. Now, this increased the greed of the student community, everyone, okay? That people started to attempt, and in fact, those were the times that people were attempting 87, 89, 95, and then they were clearing also. And that's how UPSC changed the game. It actually increased the difficulty level of the paper, and in the same difficulty level of the paper, now the number of the incorrect answers would be 40, 45. You're not going to clear the exam. do the mathematical calculation. So see, no one formula, okay, applies to this exam. It's all in the hand of the UPSC. Whenever it wants to tighten the notch, it will tighten it. Maybe हो सकता है इस year बहुत easy paper आ जाए. So what you'll do in easy paper, you will have to attempt a lot. Then, but when the paper is difficult, so then you will have to attempt it with the caution. So this attribute you will have to develop. And in fact, what majority of the people in the market do, that UPSC ने पिछले 4 साल से tough paper पूछ लिया, तो everybody will be asking a tough paper. कहीं से भी खुदाई करके नया fact निकालो, पूछ लो, ठीक है? So in this way, you'll not be closer to the UPSC. UPSC knows that what you will be doing. So for example, last year, this year 2023, सिर्फ 3 question थे modern से. And वो भी very, that the Governor General of India question was the easiest question that anybody can ask. Then, so the 2 questions, Swadesi, and the other one was the due question, okay? That Portuguese captured due from whom, okay? So that was also a easy question. So now 3 question पूछा. Maybe this year they can increase it to the old one. And as we have seen, though, so इसलिए मैंने कल number of questions लिखवाए थे. You see the trend that if the last year 3, उसके पिछले year 4 questions, there is a possibility that 8 to 7 questions would be there this year. Okay? So look at the UPSC overall 10 to 15 year trend and then be prepared for it all, and then you must have this ability to analyze paper difficult है या easy है. अगर जो paper में facts बहुत difficult nature के हैं, तो then paper is difficult. It does not depends that how many pages. The toughness of the paper is not decided that how many pages are there in the paper. कुछ लोग ऐसे decide करते हैं. Toughness is decided on the basis of the fact which has been asked, the nature of the fact which has been asked. Then, so accordingly, easy हो तो maximize करना attempt, and paper easy नहीं हो, so you will have to go with the caution. Anyone else?
सर मैं पूछ रहा था कि अब तो ये प्रिपरेशन का टाइम, मटेरियल का टाइम तो सर मतलब मेरे हिसाब से जा चुका है. मैं तो अब नहीं कर पा रहा कुछ वैल्यू एडिशन और कुछ एक्स्ट्रा.
बिल्कुल.
बट सर जो एग्जाम वाली कंडीशन रहती है 2 घंटे की, हाँ सर, उसमें अपने आप को कैसे काम और पीस रखें ताकि सर जो अपनी नॉलेज है उसको सर सही से एग्जीक्यूट कर सके. और
I'll tell you one thing, ठीक है? It's important that what you asked, but it's a very normal thing which happens with all of us. Then take a deep breath. Whenever you are in anxiety, there is no better solution than this. Okay? Whenever you are in anxiety, you are not cool and calm in the paper. Just take a deep breath. And then inhale and exhale in a longer time. Automatically calmness aati hai. Do this exercise while giving any attempts. And the second thing is carry something with you, some of your favorite thing. So I'm going into the connection of the human biology with your memory. So since you asked, so I generally, मतलब मुझे ऐसा मौका मिला आज तक नहीं था कि I would share this thing with you. So मतलब I do have that I would not say expertise, but then I know the biological sciences very well. I belong to a family where the medical sciences are the profession. Everyone is doctor except me. Then, so now understand that you carry something favorite of yours. Then, and what it could be anything. It could be oranges, it could be apple, and it could be anything that while reading or writing, you are eating. Okay? So, and even people generally what they do, that they carry chocolates also. Okay? So at the same point of time, when there is a deficiency of the glucose, your anxiety increases. Then, so keep yourself little bit of supplanted with this glucose sources. But then another thing, there is a connection, which in fact it has been experimented at many places, and then the scientists and the people from the medical industry, they have said it, that suppose that if you're reading, suppose मैं ये पढ़ रहा हूँ, and at this point of time, I'm having a coconut water. Then, so maybe one time I have read it. After 1 month, if I get a question from this paper, and if I have coconut water, I have taken a sip, याद आ जाता है मुझे. ठीक है? This is medically proven. This is medically proven, biologically proven. So, but इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि पढ़ते वक्त खाते ही रहना. But do this exercise, that if you are using something, and one more thing I'll tell you, that a music to carry नहीं कर सकते exam में, but most of the time that people use a certain type of the music to increase their memory. Then, so that also you can do, but exam में carry नहीं कर सकते हो. But then some of the food items. So make a habit in these times, ठीक है? Unusual है, ठीक है? Unusual है, but I'm telling you that कीप समथिंग विथ यू, ठीक है, जो ज़्यादा भी नहीं खाना पड़े, एंड देन it is there with you. So oranges are one of the best things, ठीक है, the smell which is there, ठीक है. So if that smell is there with you, the memory increases. Body is a complex device, ठीक है. Body is a complex device, and there are n number of the complex things we haven't understood, but then we are in the process of understanding it, and this understanding has developed everywhere. So you can go ahead with this one, ठीक है. Take a deep breath, carry something of your favorite, ठीक है. अब ये बात बोल रहा कि मुझे ही लेके चलोगे, अलाउ नहीं करेंगे वो. कुछ और?
Sir, my question is related to the topic like this prelims only. Like as you said, sir, UPSC has eliminated the elimination method, and now the pair methods.
पिछले साल में eliminate.
Yes,
इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि इस साल eliminate करेगा.
Yes, sir.
वो तो
so
पेपर
like
आने पे पता चलेगा.
we should have to prepare for that.
Yes,
na?
we
So
must
sir,
be ready for it.
So sir, how we like tackle those things? Like we are getting some confusion. Like two options are there. Like we have shown a question which is very generalized and
Yes.
particularized.
One,
and you said ki
one
just
question
leave it.
was a normal, one part
Yes,
was a
sir.
normal fact, and second part was not so normal.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So sir, उसमें like how will like get a certainty that this is the thing? Like
See,
names
उसमें
दिया रहता है
certainty
ना,
नहीं हो
sir?
सकती.
Sir,
उसमें
please.
risk लिया जा सकता है. कल भी इसको मैंने address किया था.
Yes,
That
sir.
how you can take a risk. That suppose this type of question. Suppose 6 questions are there. Out of the 6 questions, you can take risk in the 3 questions. That's very, I would say कि इसका कोई मतलब कोई formula नहीं है, ठीक है. But then generally this is what we have experimented in the last 10 years कि हमारे पास experiment का scope है. And according to the analysis of the previous year papers of the UPSC, so not in all of them, but then at least जब तुमने 50-50 में reduce कर लिया है, तो you can take risk in the 50, ठीक है. So 6 questions में 3 में risk ले लो, rest of the 3 you can leave, ठीक है.
So sir,
और
like
कोई उसका set formula नहीं है.
अभी नहीं like है ऐसा
Yes,
कुछ, sir?
obviously.
And ये smart
Obviously.
guessing in that, sir, like
Smart guessing तो वही चीज़ है ना कि then how cool and calm you are in the classroom in that particular part. I'll tell you one question. एक question पूछा था related to Agni 5, ठीक है? And then generally Agni 4 or Agni 5, I'm little confused about it, that what is the name. So the range of the, I think Agni 5, it's way back, I think in 2016 or 17, this question was there. So range of Agni 5 is more than 5,000 kilometers. And then some statement related to it was given, that intercontinental missile. So then if you know the idea that what is the range of an intercontinental, so for example, that एक continent से दूसरे continent, India से यूरोप कितना किलोमीटर्स दूर होगा, ठीक है. यू नो दैट इंटरकॉन्टिनेंटल मिसाइल के रेंज जानते हो, तो ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इट कि अग्नि 5 इज अ इंटरकॉन्टिनेंटल और नॉट, सो दैट इज कहीं पढ़ा नहीं है बट इंटरकॉन्टिनेंटल की रेंज जानते हो तो उसको कर सकते हो. सो फॉर दैट यू विल हैव टू बी वेरी दैट कूल एंड काम एंड कंपोज्ड इन द एग्जाम. सो वो डिपेंड करता है कि इन वॉट मूड you are there in the examination hall. Try to keep yourself in a good mood, not in a kind of stressed mood or in any kind of distress. Then automatically 2-3 question बढ़ जाते हैं. Depends. Last week, so किसी और को कोई question पूछना है? Anyone else? One last one, ठीक है? And then after we'll wind up the session. So I have one last suggestion from my side to you after what he asked. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Hello?
can you brief about the Zamarian plan with respect to Gadar party and related to Lala
See,
Hardayal?
That what Zimmerman plan. Zimmerman plan and Lala Hardayal. Then,
Yes, sir.
so why this is so? Okay, that why you want to know this one? You can go ahead with it one, but then I can tell you that what is the Zimmerman plan? That Zimmerman was the chancellor of the Germany at that point of time, and then he was about to provide the weapon support to the Indians. Then a deal was concluded. In fact, in this scenario, the name of the Jatindranath Mukherjee comes into the picture, and he was popularly known as Jatin Bagha Das. Then Bagha means tiger, and in fact, there was some weapons which were given to them also. But then what has happened that later on he was captured from the Odisha area and then he was executed. Lala Hardayal has been to that US. Okay? He has been to US, he was associated with it. Moreover, Lala Hardayal association started with a Gadar weekly newspaper, which was launched in 1913. Then, and Gadar weekly newspaper, he was the editor of it. Lala Hardayal was the one who was writing many of the articles, like Angrezi Raj ka Kacha Chitta. Okay? So this is how he highlighted. Then apart from it, uske alawa ek aur cheez thi, that he reissued the Yugantar circular in which the attack on the Viceroy Hardinge was appreciated. And when the Komagata Maru incident has happened, when the movement started in India, so the initial plans were created by Lala Hardayal.
Sir, is there any committee to
See,
inquire that?
this is not but counter question section. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have any other grievances, you can ask. These are the topics that you can read at yourself. Then, and then already the material has already been provided. So usme se ek bar dekh lo.
Sir,
so,
last question.
Nahi, acha, you are asking.
Last.
Yeah. Yep.
Sir, in 1906, the why Indian nationalist has prepared a Swaraj concept like UK, Canada, Australia. So,
what is Swaraj? What is Swaraj? You tell. Have you studied it?
हाँ sir.
So what is your understanding of it? What is Swaraj?
Self-rule.
Obviously you have to tell me that, then I can answer your question. Batao, what is Swaraj at this time?
Rule by nation.
See, I'll tell you. Swaraj is the self-rule. Okay? And what is self-rule? Basically that overall, the British dominion, in fact Swaraj can also be called at that point of time, it can be called as the dominion status. Not every time we use the word dominion status when we are going into the courses, but then Swaraj was the dominion status, whereby it means that British monarchy rule will continue, and then at the same point of time, just listen, so at the same point of time, what will happen, that autonomy will be given to the Indians to rule in their own country. So we will be like the monarchical democracy, just like the Britain is today, that overall head of the state is the monarchy, in Britain. So Queen Elizabeth, then now the Prince Charles. So they would be the head of the state. And then there is a parliamentary government. So those were the times that there was obviously the nationalism was in the building phase. And to get full freedom, there must be complete participation of the people. If you go into the Swadesi and boycott movement, it was not all India very big movement. It was the movement of the urban elites. So until and unless people are aware about it, people themselves are going assertive about their rights, there could not be complete independence scenario or the demand of the complete independence. So this is a gradual thing that they have demanded. Ki pehle ek bar self-rule mil jaye, and then after we can further see that if we are not exploited much, so then the further planning can be done. So that was the most rational thing to do at that point of time, because awareness was not that much. So that could be the one reason. I hope you got it. Then, so now, chalo. So anyone else? Kuch aur puchna hai? So I have one suggestion, or basically, according to matlab jo maine dekha hai, the most important in the last week of the exam is your health. Please be very careful about health. Then, and then the last week, and then in the last week, if you are not very careful about your health, so then you can lose on the exam. So it's a very generic suggestion, but then don't eat outside and try to eat that home cooked food. If your centers are, that your examination centers are in your hometown, so go little early. So कितने लोगों का examination center दिल्ली से छोड़ के बाहर डाल रखा है? Raise your hands. Go your home 2 weeks before. Why so? You need to get acclimatized in your home environment. Then, and वहाँ पे ही last week का revision करना होगा. Then, so in the last moment if you are traveling, that is not recommended. Then, so in the last week travel नहीं करना है, 2 हफ्ते पहले चले जाओ. Get acclimatized, and then accordingly, when you are in the comfort of your home, so then your health will also be okay. So be very careful about the health, and moreover, the last day, do not put yourself hell lot of stress related to the exam. Jitna revise ho gaya, jo nahi hua, leave it and take a proper sleep. Then, वैसे तो नींद नहीं आती, I know this thing, ठीक है? But then try to take rest on the last day. Then, and wind up little early on the last day. इसके अलावा, I have nothing to tell you, ठीक है? And keep yourself happy, everything good will happen. ठीक है? चलो, thank you. Very thank you, and all the best to all of you. maybe we'll be meeting for the other sections also. So, dekhte hain. Chalo, thank you for today.